night today, kicking off at 3 o'clock, 4 in the Championship, as you'd expect. All covered on Open All Mics right here on BBC Radio Scotland.
Scottish football lives here.
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
Go! Go! From BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. You can hear the atmosphere really ramping up around the grounds this afternoon. 6 games covered on Open All Mics. I'll bring you the goal news from right across the country. Let's get to the game then. Through in West Lothian, Livingston up against Falkirk. Callum Davidson is there for us. Callum, the teams are out. We've heard from both managers. You've been very praiseworthy of the surface through there. What are you expecting from this game?
Yeah, I expect a close game today. It's obviously a fantastic turnout by the Falkirk fans on the other side of the stadium. So, you know, I think it's going to be really tough. It's going to be tight. I don't know how much football is going to get played in the first 10-15 minutes, as they're all saying, but I think it's going to be an entertaining game, and hopefully you'll be coming to me quite a few times this afternoon for some goals.
Yeah, let's hope that is the case. Rory Loy's in Paisley for us this afternoon, St Mirren up against Motherwell. Rory, it's going to be really interesting to see the contrast in styles this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely is. And listen, every footballer will tell you they're happy to play in rain, snow, whatever conditions, but wind is not a great one to play in at all. That would be last on the list. So the way Motherwell want to play with what is effectively 2 right-backs, centre-back in O'Donnell and McGinn, very interested to see how they cope with the conditions, and yeah, just the game in general and St Mirren's physicality and, you know, high press. So very intrigued by this one.
Chick Young is down at Somerset Park for us. Ayr United against Wraith Rovers. Chick, of course, kicked off on Friday night with that draw. Ayr United away at Arbroath last Friday night. Very strong comments I felt from Scott Brown. He wasn't at all happy with the performance, looking for much better today.
Absolutely. And let me first of all give a thunderous round of applause to Wraith Rovers and Ayr United, who Wraith Rovers with red and blue stripes, but Kenny on the back plain red with great big white numbers. Oh, here's a chance for Rovers. Goal! Oh. It's a goal. They have scored.
Wow.
Almost from the kick-off. It's a ball given away, and it just fell for a Wraith Rovers. Had a look up. The goalkeeper's absolutely isolated. It was Dylan Easton with the lob, but it was a clever goal, Kenny. Ayr United is an inquiry at the back for them. What happened? They gave it away. Dylan Easton's 35, maybe 40 yards out, and he just dinks it. The goalkeeper's isolated between the penalty spot and the 18-yard line. It's Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 1.
Yeah, what a start there, and almost a very fast start through Paisley. Rory Loy.
Yes, indeed, St Mirren have come forward. It was a header in the box from Mandaron. It fell to O'Hara, who tried to connect with his left foot on the half volley just as the ball hits the ground, and he doesn't connect whatsoever. A defender did get a last gasp attempt to get a tackle in, and it went wide of the goals, but St Mirren have started well.
Up and running through East End Park. Willie Miller deferment against Airdrie. Very tough conditions through there.
It is, you know, but both teams have got the ball down on the ground. They're trying to pass it, and so far it's been okay. Very early in the game, you know, neither team have really stamped their authority on the game as yet, Kenny, but it's looking lively, so hopefully it'll pan out and some goals will be scored and the ball will hit the back of the net this week. Right, let's get to Derek Ferguson. He's at Firhill Park at Thistle against Morton. What are you expecting from this one this afternoon, Derek?
I tell you what, it started off, looks as if it's going to be a bit of a battle before it settles down. Yeah, like the rest of the guys, conditions overhead isn't great, but listen, the surface is magic, so just get the ball down, keep it in the deck, try and play a few passes, but I'm expecting it to be a little bit feisty. The tackles, it's great because they're flying in, referees letting it go, so Thistle on the attack as of the now, but yeah, hopefully get some goals, but I think we're going to have a feisty affair.
Good stuff. Queen's Park against Arbroath for you, Stuart Mitchell, this afternoon. I thought Arbroath looked very decent in that opening game on the channel last Friday night.
They did, and they'd be very relieved as well to get that late goal from Todorov too, to just bring them into this one in a very positive manner. The words this week from the co-managers and players has just been about the mentality they need to have in this division, but early stages here, Queen's Park have been on the ball trying to impose themselves as you would expect at home. It's now starting to just get a little bit back and forward, and are both getting a hold of possession now, but still 0-0. Be a very interesting game here.
So Dylan Easton with the opening goal down there at Somerset Park. Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 1. That goal coming in the first minute. So while it's a bit quiet at the moment, let's get the predictions from our pundits. starting with
Kenny,
the three.
Can I just make a plea, first of all, before we start the predictions, that myself and Willie picked Edinburgh City last week,
I know.
and 2 days later they were deducted 15 points. I feel in the interest of fairness we get to pick a different...
Well, I'll Neil McCann, you can have the vote on that. What do you think?
I think you should cut the guys some slack there and let them go again, because I hate predictions, and I'm not one of these guys that bet like in the golf tournaments or stuff like that early. I tend to see how it's going, Kenny. So I would let the guys off and let them pick again.
Right, Rory, who would you go for then?
Oh, who would I go for now? There is a question. I'll go with the Spartans. The Spartans.
And did you say, was it Willie? Did you go for?
I'll go with the Spartans as well, because I can't think of another team.
It's funny, that's what I'm going for, boys.
Right, Bobby, you kick us off in the studio.
So starting in League Two.
No, let's go to the top down.
I think it's difficult to see past Celtic given how stable they look and how they performed last year. I would think Celtic would be difficult to beat in the Premiership.
Championship?
Given how the first 2 weekend games have gone, it's difficult to look beyond against St Johnstone.
Yeah, Chick was certainly very bullish last weekend. And League One?
It's probably the most difficult when you look through it. I think you've got a couple of bigger clubs for that level. Hamilton, Inverness have got their own problems. So just looking at it, maybe Queen of the South.
And League Two?
It's got to be Scotbride.
Yeah, I tipped them. I feel that a few of us tipped them. And it's a real buzz about them.
There is, and the owners have been there for a number of years, and people talk about the level of investment, but these guys are putting their own money into the club to try to improve it, to try and create that environment. So, no, I'd like to see Scotbride do well.
Got a wee chance somewhere?
Yeah, there's a wee chance here. It was a great ball in by McCann. Tate's got a free header. I think all the Falkirk fans thought it hit the back of the net. He's just gone past the post, and the ball nestled right in the corner on the outside of the net. But that was a glorious chance for Falkirk, who started the better team here.
Callum, we're looking at the pictures there. Tate's got to score that, but I just wondered whether the conditions, did that play a part? Is it as windy? Is it maybe?
It's busting out here, but I think obviously Tate's not really renowned for heading the ball, is he? So he's more a midfield player. So I think that was a great chance.
It's a decent ball in as well.
Yeah.
Although it's always curling away from him, I think he has to definitely get much more on his header. Whether he'll score or not, as you say, maybe not. Heading's not his best, but he certainly has to get more on the header and maybe even make the goalkeeper force him into a save.
Yeah, definitely. Falkirk have been the better team by far here. It's all the play's been in Livingston defensive half, and they haven't really got into the game yet.
I'm going against my reputation here. I need to get more ruthless. I've been too kind to Rory and Willie for changing this.
That's what
I was really surprised.
I'm giving Tate an excuse there about when it's just been shot down. Back to being ruthless.
By 5 o'clock, you'll be back to your old self. Don't worry about that. We'll get that out of you. No bother at all. Bobby, surprise package, top flight.
Falkirk to stay up, would that be a surprise? I think a lot of people think that Falkirk will go straight back down. I don't know. I think John McGlynn's got a lot of experience. They're well organised. I watched them a couple of times live last season. Yeah, I think they'll stay up.
Right, Julian, yours starting in Premiership?
I don't think anybody would go against Celtic at the moment, just the way the other clubs. I know Hearts are talking about a challenge and Rangers are a good bit behind, but certainly you'd be daft to go against Celtic when you look at the squad they've got and how they performed last season.
Even Derek Ferguson had to concede that, and it hurt.
I don't know anybody. I think you'd be a mug if you looked beyond Celtic at this stage.
Right, and Championship?
Championship for me, I know St Johnstone are off to a fantastic start, and last night we thought we're going to be the top two. I don't think Ross County performed as we probably hoped that they would, but I'm going to go with Ross County. I'm going to say that they're going to improve as the season goes on. I think John Robertson coming in and to back up Don Cowie, I think that's a good combination. You've got somebody with a bit of experience, two people who know how each other work, and I'm going to go for Ross County to pull it back and go from strength to strength this season.
That's a bold one after the first two games.
Julie.
Eh?
What's that?
They're not playing, Julie. John Robertson.
I heard Don Cowie's been on Amazon ordering a set of ear defenders by the
Good shout.
He's missed in this programme as we Rob, that's for sure. And League One.
League One, can I base it on the League Cup campaign and how they've started the season? I'm going to go with Alloa. I think they've had a couple of good results against teams higher above them in the League Cup, and off to a good start in the first game of the season, so I'm going to go with Alloa.
And League Two?
League Two, the Spartans, I've got them down as well. I think for Edinburgh City it's a a real kick right at the start of the season. So because of that, I'm going to go with the Spartans.
And your surprise package?
I said this kind of it was an online article that I felt that Falkirk deserved the respect of what they've done the last 2 seasons back to back. I think John McGlynn's got them playing nice football. I think they've got a decent squad, and I think for me they could be a surprise in the Premiership.
Right, Stennismuir 1, Cove Rangers 0. Dale Carrick with that opening goal after 6 minutes. We'll get Niels in just a second. We'll get predictions from Billy Dodds and Ian McCall. They'll be joining us later on in the programme. I think that's me get the full set at that point, including the guys from Off the Ball last weekend. Let's get to the game in Paisley. What's happening there in the early stages? Rory Loy.
Motherwell have settled, so they have, and they've had all the ball since that early Mark O'Hara chance. Lovely play by Tomas Maswanise down the right-hand side just there. He cut back, but Motherwell are moving the ball around well. They are going a little bit longer when they have to, but one thing that's noticeable is the 2 holding midfield players. They're breaking their necks to get up and support once the ball goes forward, and Fadinger started well. So yeah, Motherwell very impressive so far in the opening kind of 10 minutes or so.
Maswanise is an interesting one, Neil, isn't he?
Still 0-0.
He's a raw, the pace, you can see a real potential, can't you?
Yeah, I like him. Last season I thought he looked very, very good, very quick, elusive. Started off the season brilliant. It's a chance for Falkirk there, sorry.
Yeah, it was a great chance. It was a great chance. Another great ball by McCann, and McGeever's just peeled off the back of, I think it's Danny Wilson. I think he should do better there as well. He has to go back across. It's a comfortable save for the keeper in the end.
Yeah, I was saying about Maswanise, I think he offers a real threat. I know he's sort of playing wide and he gets asked to push-ups. He'll be certainly asked to get push-up alongside side, and Slattery supporting as well. But I think he's been a real find for Motherwell. The way they play football as well on the deck. I know maybe Rory's talking about maybe knocking it high at times, maybe the early part of the game. Really interesting that the 3 right backs are operating defensively. I thought Stevie would try and really pin them and go direct, because I don't think they've got much physical presence. I know sides looks powerful, but it doesn't look as if he offers a real mobility, Kenny, in what I saw last week against Rangers, but I might be completely wrong. But Maswanise is definitely a player I like.
Yeah, I like watching him, that's for sure. Here's a quiz question for you, and our listeners can get in touch. You can just tweet me, Kenny Mac, on Twitter. It's at Kenny Mac Sport, I think it is. I've not used it for a while. At Kenny Mac Sport on Twitter. And actually, we'll play out the commentary of this a little later. At Kenny Mac Sport. So, quiz question. Today is 50 years celebration of Sportscene, and there'll be a big celebration. We've seen it all week, all the stuff. It's going to be great. Tonight, they're on BBC Scotland at 8:15, and then they're on BBC One Scotland. I think it's 10:20, certainly late, earlier than usual, on the BBC One channel. So, which goal was the first ever shown on Sportscene 50 years ago today? The first goal ever shown on Sportscene, and we'll play the commentary a little later in the programme, and also a wee surprise later on the programme for you as well. So one thing I wanted to put a talking point, and we'll start off with you, Willie Miller, on this one. I think the comments from Russell Martin last Saturday evening, very publicly criticising his players. Willie, is that something that you are in favour of? Is it something a manager can only do very, very rarely? I'm coming to you first for obvious reasons.
If I could take a walk back in time, it happened regularly. I mean, we used to get slaughtered when we won games. It didn't matter. In fact, if you remember the Scottish Cup final, when it was me and Alec McLeish that won the Scottish Cup, if you remember that rant from Alec Ferguson in front of cameras. Listen, we knew nothing about that until we got to the hotel and we watched the highlights after the game, and then you can imagine how the rest of the players felt. I think as long as you're telling the players in the dressing room, I don't believe in if Russell Martin has went into that dressing room and torn a strip out of players and told them exactly how he felt, and then took that message out and told it to the public, then I think that's okay. That there's no problem. He won't get any problem, I don't think, from his players that way. I think if you're a bit kind of a soft in the dressing room, and then you go out and you're maybe picking out individuals as well, and they don't know anything about it, then that's not the way to deal with it. That would be my opinion. I think as long as it's sent in the dressing room, and as long as you're looking for a bit of response, and my goodness, did they get a response from that outburst? But I believe, and I don't know what goes on in the dressing room at Ibrox, but I would have thought that he would have said everything that he said in the dressing room before he
you're
went
sitting
out.
there about the first time that you learned of Sir Alex's outburst was watching the TV. Did he not come into the dressing room and say to you after the game?
No.
Because
see, me and Alec knew that it was just us that won the cup, so we didn't have to be told.
Yeah, but I mean, because he's come out and said that he regrets that, doesn't he?
Yes.
But so he never came into the dressing room and
He
gave
wasn't
a go.
happy. He wasn't happy. Yeah, I mean, but he didn't say what he said on TV. He didn't say in the Milan Police. But he was raging, absolutely raging. And what was happening was the wives and partners were going in the team bus, so he banned that. Right, the wives are going in another bus, so they had to go in a bus taking some supporters. Well, there was some of the staff who put Tawdry on that bus. So I think they had to detour to drop us off, and we went right. Get a champagne. You're getting no bloody champagne. No champagne. We just won the European Cup, Winners' Cup and the Scottish Cup, by the way, and we couldn't get a bottle of champagne. Managed to sneak a bottle or two.
Does anyone think he was out? Does anyone think it was over the top from the manager? Or does everyone think fair game?
I think it's the circumstances, Kenny.
Yeah. On you go, Rory.
Kenny. I think it's the circumstances. Now, he will have looked into the job once he got it, obviously, and seen, in recent times, there's been a clear pattern for years now of good performances in Europe and poor performances domestically. And I think it's just his way of trying to, early on, while stuff's still got a bit of clout, I think it's just his way of trying to nip it in the bud and saying, no, that's not going to be happening. I didn't mind it at all because, they did get a reaction, but again, Rangers have been superb in Europe for a number of years now, so the big test on the reaction for me will be at 5:15 today.
For me, as a player, I would rather criticise in private and then be more united in public. I think I would have no problem at all with the manager expressing his opinion in the dressing room and even to individual players in private meetings or whatever, but I think it's a really difficult thing to do is come out in public and say that, particularly if you're talking about experienced players that you're then going to need to rely on or you then want them to produce. And I know their European performance was far better than their performance against Motherwell, but again, as you say, I think that has been a pattern for Rangers where they have been able to turn these performances round in European football, and it has been the domestic side of the game.
Do you not
that
think,
they've
Julie,
struggled
there's ever a time to do that type of thing?
For me, I think with it being so early on as well in his career as the Rangers manager, I think it was a risk to take that. Now, I agree with you, Rory, that the test is more going to be against Dundee, and also, I know people can guess what players that he's talking about, but the test will then be, will these players then perform for him, and will they be able to put in performance? Do they want to still fight for him when he possibly has, although he hasn't said their name, when he has kind of publicly maybe criticised them? For me, I think in the dressing room it's fair game. You speak to these players, you say what you want and you express your opinion, but as a player I would have rather that would stay out of the press.
Yeah, can I saw his selection on Tuesday, you knew exactly who the players were.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You would.
What a free kick from Dylan Easton. Sorry, Julie, but Easton just struck a free kick that's rattled off the corner of the crossbar and post. What another effort from Dylan Easton, nearly a second, still 1-0 to Wraith Rovers. Yeah, I just think...
Jack, it was clear as day who he was talking about.
Exactly,
it was clear as day.
And also...
Being at the game, because he spoke about body language, Chick, and there was two players, and it was Raskin and it was the captain. Their body language wasn't great, so you could tell a mile away.
Do you think then that when you look at Raskin, he's a player that Rangers they're either going to want to get the best out of him as a player for Rangers, or they're going to then want him to develop as a player so that they're going to get the money for him? Do you think that's then going to get the best out of that type of young player?
But Joey, I think when they, and I know he wrote it off verbally yesterday or the day before, but I think his worry is, where did the leak come from in the dressing room? Because people in the mid-afternoon or early afternoon knew exactly what that Rangers team was going to be, and they were right. There was a leak there. He said it doesn't concern him, but I think he knows where that leak has come from. I've got a fair idea myself.
Yes, Tom.
I can't hear what I'm saying. Livingston are taking the lead. It's probably their first attack of the game. Muirhead's actually taking a really poor touch wide. Can't get a shot off. Then he's basically cut it back across goal. I think it was Pittman, as he does best, arrives late and puts the ball in the net. Livingston 1-0 up.
Yeah, you're right. I think Muirhead, he does take a poor touch. Initially, he's probably looking to get the ball out his feet and get a strike away, but then what he does after that's brilliant. He cuts it back, and he knows Pittman, that's where he's going to be. He's going to be following up, and it's an easy finish in the end, but
Falkirk would be really disappointed. Falkirk have been the better team by a mile probably for the first 18 minutes. You know, and I think that's Livingston's first attack, on real sort of threatening attack on goal, and cut them open quite easily. So again, John McGlynn were really disappointed to concede the goal after the start.
Yeah, very good start for the home side through there in West Lothian. Montrose 0, Kelty Hearts 1. Luke McGarville with that goal on 17 minutes. Just confirmation, the first goal of the day came from Chick down at Somerset Park. Dylan Easton in the first minute giving Wraith Rovers a 1-0 advantage away to Ayr United. Callum, I think you want to come in on that debate about Russell Martin.
Yeah, when I listened to the interview, it was just mentality. You know, it's one thing that we've probably all said, that mentality wasn't there last season. So I think he's just marking everyone's card, saying, listen, if you're not going to be strong enough mentally to play for Rangers, because it's really difficult to play for Rangers, then you're not going to play. And for me, I really liked it. I thought at the start of the season, he wasn't happy. Now, he's not let it festered. It's out there. It's done. And players have either got to, you know, they've actually
chance! Oh, saved. Good save from the goalkeeper, Shamal George. It was Motherwell who attacked down the right-hand side, and it was a really good chance for Ibrahim Said. It was on the angle. He makes himself big, Shamal George, but Motherwell have been absolutely superb in the opening 20 minutes, I have to say. Still 0-0.
Yeah, I just wondered if he could have squared it. Maswanisi was certainly of that thought process, but I'm not sure. I think Maswanisi actually was touch tight with a St Mirren defender, but it's a real chance. Maybe just going across him low and hard might have had a better outcome. But yeah, I agree with you, Rory. I'm watching this, we're watching both games as we're speaking, and Motherwell are just popping it around. St Mirren actually look a wee bit subdued. I thought they would have had a lot more aggression in the early parts of the game, Rory.
Yes, listen, so did I. I wasn't sure whether they would maybe, you know, kind of, here they come forward, here they've got a corner. I wasn't sure whether they would maybe set traps, Neil, and encourage Motherwell to make the mistake, or whether they would kind of push up high, but they've not really done either. And it's actually Ibrahim Said, not Maswanisi, on the right-hand side. That's my mistake. It was pretty far away from me in the blazing sunshine, but it's himself who's done very, very well down the right-hand side a few times, and Maswanisi looks very dangerous in behind through the centre. And
disappointing scoreline coming through for some of the predictions in the programme. The Spartans 0, Dumbarton 1. Jamie Ditchington own goal there on 17 minutes. We'll wait for that. The corner's just been...
Rory.
Can change again next week, can't I?
If Neil's on, you can. Right, here we go. So corner in Paisley, Rory.
Yeah, there's another corner. That was a pretty poor one. It's played short, but Motherwell managed to snuff it out, and it's going to be another corner taken by Declan John again. But I have to say, I question whether Motherwell would be able to put up with the conditions, with the wind and St Mirren's physicality, but they've been really, really good. A little bit lacking in the final third. That was their only real opening there. But yeah, very good to watch, I have to say. Still 0-0 at the moment.
Callum, just to follow up on the point that Chick made, you know, given how strong Russell Martin was last Saturday evening about his players, were you surprised to see him play it down yesterday, the leaking of the team for the European game midweek?
Yeah, I think sometimes he's probably now thinking, right, obviously we're talking about this all the time, so he's probably now thinking, right, I better just try and calm everything down a little bit. I got a reaction that I wanted. Players know exactly what is expected of them. You know, the league one's always a hard one as a manager, because it's not quite sure. You know, they're talking about your team getting out there. There's loads of things, different factors that can happen with that. So I think he kind of wants to play that one down. For me, it was more than just a mentality one. You know, do what he wants the players to do, what he's asked them to do. You know, and if you don't do that, then you don't play.
Kenny, see, when we're talking about leaks, are we talking about deliberate leaks?
That's the thing, Will. Is it a disgruntled player, or is it just someone sharing with a pal? That's the thing.
Sharing their pal, sharing with their agent, you know, as well, and the word gets round. So I think if it's a deliberate ploy with someone that's disgruntled, then fair enough. But these things, I think, can happen.
We had teams getting out as well, Kenny, last year. Yeah, I mean, going out very early as well.
What did you do about it?
You have a word and just say, look, we're aware that the team's getting out. Don't be telling if you're disappointed, then try and keep it in. But Russell's right when he came out. How do you control a family member or an agent, as Willie's touched on there? He's right. I know a lot of these training sessions are filmed now, and there's access to the filming daily, so that's a risk. That's something that I brought up about not having access to daily training footage, or certainly the day previous to a match. Say it's a Friday shape session. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody having access to that outside the coaching team. But there's various ways that the team can get out. I agree with it. I don't think there's anything malicious that somebody try to do, being left out and just saying, right, I hope they get stuff tomorrow. I'm going to let the team out. And I agree with Russell's thought process that there won't be too much change. Maybe it's an advantage given that you can almost like match up your set pieces because you know who's going to be in direct opposition, or you've got a fair idea how they might play against you, or a better idea instead of second guessing. But you won't stop it, Kenny. No. Honestly, you'll not stop it.
Said, didn't he, Neil? He already says he doesn't believe it was intentional.
Yeah.
It may have been that somebody who's been left out spoke to someone, and that's how it's been. But he doesn't believe there was intent, to do damage. But
the stuff that
they'll know who was in the wrong. They'll know that shouldn't happen again, because if it does, then it does become a problem. Then it is intentional.
Yeah, chance check.
Oh, that is magnificent, Josh Mullen. Derry United defended. It's been all Raith Rovers to get the ball out here. It's just in front of me from the back of the stand, the main stand at Somerset Park. Josh Mullen takes it on the volley. I see it all the way. It's arrowing into the top right-hand corner of David Mitchell's goal. He somehow gets a hand in it, puts it around for a corner kick. But another fantastic effort from Josh Mullen. It's still Raith Rovers leading Ayr United by a goal to nil. They have a corner kick.
In the top flight, Livingston 1, Falkirk 0, St Mirren 0, Motherwell 0, 5:45 start. Full commentary to come on Sports, and Rangers at home to Dundee. In the Championship, as Chip was just telling us, Ayr United 0, Raith Rovers 1, Dunfermline 0, Airdrie 0, Partick Thistle 0, Morton 0, Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 0. In League 1, East Fife 0, Alloa Athletic 0, Inverness Carry Thistle 0, Peterhead 0, Montrose 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Queen of the South 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Stenhousemuir 1, Cove Rangers 0. And in League 2, Clyde 0, Forfar 0, Elgin City 0, East Kilbride 0, Spartans 0, Dumbarton 1, Stirling Albion 0, and an Athletic 0, Stranraer 0, Edinburgh City 0. Just before we bounce around the grounds again, Bobby, if we look at the refereeing situation, I think it's fair to say that Willie Collum has been a lot more transparent, but he's also been quite critical of his referees in public.
Yes.
How do you think that's gone down?
It's interesting because it's never really happened before where referees have been subject to the same criticism from their leader manager as the players will be, and I think it's quite interesting. If you look at the Russell Martin situation, in my opinion, that's up to the players how they respond. A football manager, he's managing two groups of stakeholders. He's got the players who he needs on side to perform so they win matches, he stays in job, but he also has to call it as it is because the spectators expect a certain degree of performance. So I think, in my own opinion, in the Russell Martin situation, I think it's right. Call it out, and it's up to the players to react. That's that situation. Then for the referees, it's very difficult if your manager's there and he's criticising you. But what I would say, if our decision is black and white, it's accepted. But if there's these decisions with a wee bit of ambiguity, referees would probably look for that little bit of support. But it's a massive change, because I know that Willie was absolutely not a favour of sharing public opinion. Now Willie's the one that's out giving the public the opinion, or his opinion.
How's it going down with some of the referees?
Some of them won't be happy. I think when you've someone who's been an advocate for not taking that outside, but I think football, Scottish football, expects that level of transparency. You see it in other countries now, so it's the right thing to do. But as I said, Willie would never have been an advocate for that when he was active as a referee. So that's probably the one thing that'll unsettle some of the referees. But I think it's the right thing to do, though it will have unsettled some of the officials.
Right, let's take a bounce around the grounds. Yeah, on you go.
Ken, just before you do a wee PS on all the Rangers stuff this week, I'm just wondering if Rangers might have saved themselves a bit of money after Philippe Comon's interesting interview on Sacked in the Morning. I think there was a disclosure agreement in place that Rangers might be looking at and questioning now.
Well, I suppose the problem we've got is we don't know, the details of that check. I watched it. It was very interesting. He's done a couple of bits of media now. You know, really good insight from him. He said he felt let down by what was going on at the club. He was a figurehead. There was no one else there to let the fans know what was happening. He said he was very disappointed that journalists, but this is often the case, journalists were phoning him basically telling him he'd lost his job. But it was a really good, it's actually available, you can get that on BBC Sounds, Sacked in the Morning, with the former Rangers manager Philippe Clement. I gave you a quiz question earlier on. The quiz question was, it's 50 years today that Sports Scene was first on air. Big celebrations throughout the week and a very special Sports Scene this evening. The quiz question was the first goal ever shown on Sports Scene 50 years ago today. So quite a lot of you get in touch. Derek Drennan says, quiz the answer, Kenny Dalglish. Rangers 2, Celtic 1. Blair Miller, Bobby Ford for Dundee against Aberdeen in the second minute. Karen McKenzie says McAllister. And Steve Marshall, that's a bit of a fun one. There's a lot of suggestions coming in, but the correct answer, so Derek Drennan got the correct player, Kenny Dalglish. Very fitting. Wait a minute, Julie Fleeting. Kenny Dalglish. Julie Fleeting got it right. To be honest, Julie, I didn't expect our pundits to get that. I thought it'd be a Google job at home for the listeners, but well done.
Can I just say?
Yes.
Can I just say, of course, a PS to that question? What was Sports Scene before it was Sports Scene? That wasn't the start of football coverage on BBC Scotland.
Oh, I heard this today on the podcast. Can't remember it.
Was Sports thing?
No, Sports
Reel.
That's it. Sports Reel.
Sports Reel. Right, so that
Sports
goal.
Reel.
Sports Reel. Kenny Dalglish, League Cup tie, Celtic against Aberdeen. 50 years ago, that goal was shown on the programme. Tune in tonight. It's going to be a really, really good watch this evening. You see it first of all on the BBC Scotland channel and then on BBC One Scotland. So
it wasn't my fault though, Kenny. It's getting my mind now. It wasn't my fault.
He's offside.
Right, so let's go to round the grounds. Let's start in the game between Livingston and Falkirk. A lot of pointing going with the referee there in the middle of the park. But what's happening? Are they good value for their lead, the home side, Callum?
Yeah, they've kind of sort of come back into the game. It's been a wee bit stop-starty. Been a lot of fouls given away. One thing you can credit Livingston, have actually stopped any sort of flow from Falkirk. Falkirk now really struggling to sort of get into their stride. They just had a blow. I think Ethan Ross had to go off with a bad injury. He's a big player for them, and Aguiman's come on the left-hand side, but really struggling just to get into the flow of the game for Falkirk. But that's credit to Livingston.
Right, next stop, Paisley, St Mirren home to Motherwell. Let's get the latest from Rory Loy.
Yeah, Maswinisi's causing all sorts of problems, as is Said on the right-hand side. That's continued throughout the game. Now, Motherwell are prepared to go long and play in the opposing half, and you need Maswinisi and Said to be able to hold the ball up, and they've done that brilliantly. Stephen Robinson's not happy. He's in at his bench with his clipboard, throwing it about. He's telling people to warm up. I think he's just sent somebody out to warm up. So they've not really been at the races, St Mirren, at all.
That old tactic.
The only thing... What's that?
That old tactic. I mean, it's very early, isn't it? He's a fascinating watch, isn't he, Stephen Robinson?
He is, and he knows what he's doing. He's a good manager. The only thing I would say from Motherwell's point of view is they've had, other than the first minute, so that would be half an hour of dominance, they've only really created one chance, and St Mirren have created a chance as well. So yes, it's great to watch fantastic football, etc., but you need to be able to get an end product at some point, because at 0-0 the game's finally balanced, and that's where it remains at the moment.
I mean, Stephen Robinson, remember, I think there's a midweek game at home to Hibs, and you know the position we've got there, you're right behind the dugouts. He never stopped the whole game. He was going absolutely nuts, jumping up and down, head and hands, in and out of the dugout, having to go at his backroom team after the game. Post-match interview, that was one of our best performances of the season. Aye, right. But they look quite passive today, don't they?
Yeah, for me, Motherwell are keeping the ball well, as Rory's talking about there. But I mean, 60. I'm just looking at it, just almost 60% possession for Motherwell without really, other than that chance that Said had. Stevie's a coach manager. You know, he's not a manager that will just stand there and look for direction from behind his coaches. He's very much instruction, getting barked all the time, areas of the pitch you'll get, so you know how Stevie's generally going to play. But since he's gone back to this 3, certainly he tried to change it up a while ago, but
it's a chance. Oh yes,
Derek Ferguson,
a chance. Sorry Neil, it's a goal for Morton. Finally we get something. This game has been I said it was going to be a bit of a battle. It's kind of panned out that way. I was getting a little bit tad disappointed myself. That's just a break down the right hand side. I think it's Brothy has the shot. Just about 6 yards out at the angle, the ball breaks to Crawford and comes in. He's never going to miss from there. So Morton, there's nothing between the sides. It's not been great, but Morton take the lead 1-0.
Yeah, that's a disappointing one for Park Thistle after that really poor start in Perth last weekend. Queen of the South 0, Hamilton Accies 1, Connor Smith on 28 minutes. Before I continue the bounce around the grounds, I'll get your selections.
Oh, great, Kenny, I thought I'd get away with it.
No chance, let's have it.
Well, if it had been that interim mob it was in, I might have had a different answer here, but I can't see Celtic losing the title this year. I think Brendan Rodgers has sent a shot across the board's bows in terms of strengthening his side. He's looking for more additions. I fully expect that to happen before the window closes. Rangers are looking brilliant the other night in the European, and I expect them to go again, but be a tough ask to get the title back from Celtic, but I expect it to be much closer. Aren't we going to the Championship?
Yeah.
Actually, I've got it written down here just as proof, but Wraith Rovers, as Chick said, have started very well. I've got a wee sneaky feeling for Wraith Rovers this season. I know St Johnstone are the obvious ones, started the season very well under Seymour. I'm pleased that the club have kept Seymour.
Yeah.
Keep that continuity. I know Jim Goodwin went down with United and then bounced back up again, so David Martindale another one, so there's evidence there that it's the right decision to stick by the manager, but I just got a wee feeling that Wraith Rovers might have a wee chance this season. Moving down, where am I? I've gone Inverness.
Right. I
think Kells, and it's not through just my not I wouldn't suppose to call it loyalty, but my time up there, but I just think Kell did a remarkable job in terms of the deduction of points last year, galvanising things. Might just be a difference, new ownership with the club.
He's been there a long time, hasn't he?
He's been there an awful long time, suffered real bad illness as well, but he's been in and around the background, and now he's his own man, which must be good for Kell. But yeah, I've gone with Inverness and pushed closely by Hamilton.
Right, Hamilton doing very well this afternoon. And League Two?
League Two, I went for Spartans. They've started poorly today with that fluke from Dumbarton.
It's got worse. Spartans nil, Dumbarton 2 now.
Right, okay.
Patrick on 30.
Right, okay. I'm
Early
definitely,
days.
since I gave Rory and Willie a bit of grace, I'm allowed to change. I don't like this game anyway, but I'll go with Spartans.
It's good to revisit. And surprise package top flight.
I've already spoken about Hearts, whether you can call them a surprise package or not, but I just think it could be a very special first season for Derek McInnes with Hearts, looking at the strength and depth they've got. I think there'll be continued additions. I could see Hearts maybe winning a cup this year and finishing very strong in the league.
Right, let's go around the grounds. Let's get into the Championship. The first goal this afternoon came at Somerset Park. Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 1. What sort of fight back on the home side, Chick?
Not really. Still the only goal of the game though, Kenny, coming in that first minute. Wonderful goal from Dylan Easton. Great vision. Maybe 35 to 40 yards out. He saw the goalkeeper well off his line, and he just chipped it over the defenders and over the goalkeeper and into the net. There's been one tame opportunity for George Oakley a couple of moments ago from a corner kick, a header, but it would be easily into the arms of the goalkeeper. Here's Easton inside the box again. Little ball across, taken by the goalkeeper that time. Yeah, I have to say Wraith Rovers have been far, for my money, the better team in this football match so far. They've had a lot of the possession, certainly the opportunities, getting forward, getting the ball moving on a slick surface. The rain is battered in. Off the fifth at the moment.
It should have been a goal. It should have been a goal. A second for Morton. It's a ball right hand side, and the Thistle defence are so static. And there's Delaney, the left back, you know, just getting across the 6 yard box. He's only gets 4 or 5 yards out. What a save it is from Josh Clark. He's on loan from Celtic. It's his debut this afternoon. I tell you what, it was a brilliant save, because I thought that was going one place into the back of the net. So what a save it was.
Montrose equalised at home to Kelty Hearts.
1-0 to Morton.
Yeah, Kieran Freeman with that goal there on 36 minutes. Montrose 1, Kelty Hearts 1. Still waiting for the opener at East End Park.
Oh my God. They've just hit the bar. Adeloyd heads it across. Morton, this is. I tell you what, they're trying to get that second so bad. They're just trying to think who that. I think that might have fell to Delaney again. No, it was Blues. So They're all over them at the minute, but now Thistle on the break, Chalmers right hand side. He said no service whatsoever. It's a shot, it hits the post, comes out. Oh, and then the keeper grabs it. Incredible stuff. This game is offered very little, Kenny, but in a minute or two, this is what the Championship does to you. Oh, so unlucky for Thistle to get the equaliser.
I don't think it's doing much for you today, Willie Miller, is it?
It's not doing it for me. I just, Derek, can you keep going, please? Listen, it's not a bad game here,
Kenny. This is only action that's happened, to be honest, Willie.
Willie, you do know this is radio and there's no pictures. Fergie could very well be making this up, so fire in any time you like.
Out of Chico's book, eh? Well, I'll be truthful and honest to who I was last week. It's very similar to last week. Listen, there's nothing wrong with the football that's been played and the attitude. Both teams are trying to get it down, and well, they are getting it down. They're passing it quite well. They haven't had too much kind of a creativity again in and around the box. Couple of chances either side. Josh Cooper had a good effort that was well saved by Conley. Connor Young had another effort low in the box, but it was too easy for the goalkeeper to collect. Ewan Henderson had a really good free kick that was well saved by Munn in goal. And the header from Aidan Wilson is what I've got here on my notes. A decent game though. I'm not complaining about the quality of the game in terms of they want to get the ball down, they want to build it up from the back. Goalkeeper starting attacks as well, so everything like that is fine. Bit of physicality as well. I think it's 4, maybe 5 bookings, so it's okay. It's just in the box. It was the same last week. You know, Dunfermline Morton too. Just lacking creativity. 0-0, Kenny.
Right, thanks to Willie Miller. Let's get to the game between Queen's Park and Arbroath. Stuart Mitchell's there for us. Queen's back at the City Ground at Lesser Hampden effectively now. Is that right, Stuart?
That's right, yeah. Perfect opportunity, perfect timing to arrive here, Kenny, because there's just been a big chance for Arbroath. Callum Ferry pulling off a big save.
What a
Queen's
goal! That is quite magnificent for Dunfermline. Who is it now that gets a big centre back? Is it midfield? My God, I'll tell you who it is in a minute, but it is quite sensational. He just drives forward. He gets the ball under control. He just smacks it into the top left-hand corner. Is it Josh Cooper? Just trying to see. I think it is. No, it's John Todd. The big wing back. He comes up from the left-hand side. He takes on a couple of defenders. He gets himself just outside the box, and he drills it with his left foot across the goalkeeper into the top left-hand corner. A quite sensational goal to break the deadlock here, Kenny.
Fantastic. We needed that through there. There's a lot expected, I think it's fair to say, of Dunfermline this season. They've got a serious manager there, and there has been serious investment in that football club. Queen of the South 0, Hamilton Accies 2. A trialist with a second goal there on 39 minutes. Let's get back to our 2 top flight games. The goal for the home side came against run of play. I think, was it fair to say, Callum, what's happening there now through Livingston against Falkirk?
Yeah, much the same really. I think they're really struggling. It's really blustery out there, and the ball's kind of like moving about a lot. Falkirk are trying to get back into the game, but so far there's no real shot. Hold on a minute, there's a shot. Arguman, no, straight to the goalkeeper. Falkirk are just slowly coming back into the game, but not a lot happening in both boxes really. So yeah, still 1-0 here.
Julie, are you expecting John McGlynn to stick very much with the same style of play that's been so successful the past 2 seasons?
Yeah, I think there'll be certain games where he'll need to tweak his style of play. I think it's a completely different kettle of fish playing in the Premiership and against the top opposition. I think games like this afternoon when they're up against Livingston, a team where they've matched up against previously, I think he'll stick to that style of playing for the majority. But I think, as you see, in most teams, they do tweak it, the style that they're going to play when they come up against the Old Firm and possibly now Hearts and Hibs as well. So, but I think he'll stay true to what he believes, and he's got footballers on his side, and they've kind of got him this far. And I think, as in general, that will be his kind of philosophy to get through this season.
I think he will. I think he'll stay. I've watched him a few times. I think he'll just keep playing the same way. Last year he played against Celtic, Parkhead. It was the same thing. Same style.
Will they not get picked off too easily with the better teams, Callum?
Well, we might do, but he'll probably then think he can win the games that he's in it. He's in with teams that are even round about them. The question that will be asked is if he starts to lose a few games. He's had a lot of success in the last 2 years with the way he's played, and he's never really had to sort of change it But you know, I think when he maybe starts to lose a few, you might see something, you might not. But again, he's quite strong in his beliefs. So I think he'll just stick to the way he's played all the time and be quite open and try and win games.
Inverness Caley Thistle 1, Peterhead 0. David Witherspoon with opening goal on 39 minutes.
It's the second goal.
There you
second goal. Kenny, second goal for Dunfermline.
Yes, Willie.
Good work down the right-hand side. Great cross into the box. It's Andy Todd on this occasion that has popped up, totally unmarked, just to slot into the back of the net with his left foot there. An easy chance for him. It was Richie Hostler down the right-hand side. Great cross into the box and a simple side foot into the back of the net to give the home side that second goal.
Fantastic, very strong end to the half there for Neil Lennon's side. Now, I was expecting goals, I have to say, despite the difficult conditions. Rory threw in Paisley this afternoon. I thought it'd be a very open game, but a bit disappointing so far.
Yeah, it is a little bit disappointing. It's good to watch Motherwell, but it gets to the stage where they're passing it around, but they're not really getting anywhere. What kind of summed up the first half for Motherwell? Oh, the ball's in the box here and it's swirling around. I don't know if it's going to lead to anything. We'll wait and see. Nope, gets cleared. What kind of sums it up for Motherwell was about 10 minutes ago, in the interim period, by the way, Katrumbis went off injured and Tom Sparrow's on it right back for him. Tom McGinn was under pressure in his own half. He did really well. He worked it into Fadinger, who worked it back to McGinn, across to Katrumbis, in the pitch to Elijah Just, who drove forward. Unbelievable football, played it out wide, and then the ball into the box from Longello was hit into the stand, and that probably sums Motherwell's first half up. They've been really, really good in their build-up. They got up to the mid-70s in terms of their possession stats. Now, I don't know if any team will have had that out with Celtic at St Mirren Park in the last couple of years. So, look, credit to them for playing the way they're playing, but it's not really leading anywhere. As for St Mirren, I've never seen them as poor. I know Motherwell have been decent. Their hold-up play from the Idowu and Mandaron has been awful, and I think there'll be changes at half-time.
What about
half-time? It's half-time at Somerset Park, Kenny. It is the United 0, Wraith Rovers 1.
Thanks, Chick. What about tactically? Do you think they were looking at anything?
Oh,
Stephen Robinson.
I think he'll be looking for a lot more aggression in their game. They've been kind of passive. I know Motherwell will ask questions and they'll take it short. I just wonder whether Stevie might just get a little bit higher up in the game. They don't look as if they're right touch tight with Motherwell. I know Fadinger in there is working hard in terms of he got on the ball. They're coming sharp shot, and I just wonder whether maybe just sitting a designated player. I know they've got three semi-attacking type players. I know really 1-6 there. Bacchus, O'Hara and Phillips are quite attacking on. I just wonder whether going a 2 and a 1, Kenny, and stopping that one. It seems to be Fadinger, I would say, Rory, that is the one that wants to go and build, and Slattery getting in touch.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Kenny, just at Lesser Hampden, just beating some action with Aidan Connolly. When he's on the ball for Queen's Park, he's going to be really key this season, returning to the club. And he just had the best opportunity of the half there, saved by McAdams, pushed away for a corner, nothing happened. Half-time whistle has just sounded at Lesser Hampden. Queen's Park now are both 0.
Thanks to Stuart through there. We'll keep you updated on all the games this afternoon, bringing all the goal news from right across the country on Sports. And a reminder, we're on BBC One Scotland today, 4:25 until 5:25. A wee special guest coming in later on as well. And
watch this tackle and Paisley down the left-hand side. Neil, watch this.
Half-time at East End, 2-0.
It's Richardson. It's like a rugby tackle. He tries to pull Longello back. He gets booked in the end. It's desperation, and that kind of sums up St Mirren's half as well.
Thanks, Rory. Yeah, I mean, it's just a really frustrating day through there, isn't it, Julie? I think for all concerned, Motherwell...
Half-time, Kenny. Partick Thistle 0, Morton 1.
Thanks, Derek. Motherwell not doing an awful lot with the possession they have, and St Mirren just looking well off it today.
Yeah, it's one of these kind of situations where Motherwell will be hoping that doesn't come back. The fact that they haven't been able to those clear-cut opportunities despite having all that possession, getting at half-time.
That is half-time, Julie, 0-0.
Yeah, that type of first-half performance, you'd be expecting to get something at the end of it. It also gives St Mirren an opportunity to kind of regroup and address the issues that they've had.
Still playing through in the game between Livingston and Falkirk, Callum?
Yeah, here's a little chance here for Smith. Shoots. Oh, what a goal! Outstanding strike by young Smith. It's a great break by Montgomery down the left-hand side. Switches the play, cuts inside. He curls it in the top corner. 2-0 Livingston. What a goal that was.
Julie, that's extra special, isn't it?
Oh, it's a brilliant strike. He's on the right-hand side and he's touches in the pitch onto his left foot, and it just curls it right into the top corner. It's a brilliant goal and a perfect time to score as well.
Yeah.
What a difference to go in at half-time, being 2 goals up rather than the 1.
Yeah, Lewis Smith right on the stroke of half-time. They are 2-0 up now at home to Falkirk. A massive goal there. Many people in the programme think Livingston will have a very good campaign. Few think they'll have any real relegation worries. Davy Martindale on the touchline there just clapping, applauding that goal, just telling his players to concentrate, get into the break now, and it could be an awful long way back for Falkirk in that game. So just a reminder, we're on BBC One Scotland Day, 4:25 until 5:25. And remember your special sports scene, 50-year anniversary. Tune in and watch that this evening. We've got, of course, Dougie Donnelly back in the hot seat and some of the old commentators on there as well. It should be absolutely fantastic. So tune in for that. Just waiting on the half-time whistle to go around the country. You still playing, Willie, did you say?
No, half-time.
You're half-time there, sorry.
2-0 for Dunfermline.
Thank you. I was under the desk. A problem with my computers. I missed that, so I'm just trying to catch up. No, I wasn't hiding. No.
It was your round for the coffees, Kenny.
That'd be about right, yeah, actually. And just waiting on the half-time whistles going around the country, and we'll bring you the full half-time reports from everyone as well. I'll bring you all the goal news throughout the country. So stay tuned. You listen to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland.
This is Open All Mics.
Goal! Oh, brilliant!
On BBC Radio Scotland.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We'll get the half-time reports for you just shortly. I'll just give you the latest scores. So Livingston 2, Falkirk 0, St Mirren 0, Motherwell 0, 5:45 start. Full coverage to come from Ibrox. Rangers at home to Dundee. Just worry about Dundee, certainly in the early part of this campaign. Very poor in the League Cup and a disappointing home performance in the league opener last weekend against Hibs. In the Championship, Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 1, Dunfermline 2, Airdrie 0, Partick Thistle 0, Morton 1, Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 0. In League 1, East Fife 0, Alloa Athletic 0, Inverness County Thistle 1, Peterhead 0, Montrose 1, Kelty Hearts 1, Queen of the South 0, Hamilton Accies 2, Stennismuir 1, Cove Rangers 0. And in League 2, Clyde 0, Forfar Athletic 0, Elgin City 0, East Kilbride 0, Spartans 0, Dumbarton 2, Stirling Albion 0, and an Athletic 0, Stranraer 0, Edinburgh City 0. I just wonder if the conditions are having an effect on the lack of goals being scored this afternoon. So Callum, we have now just hit the half-time mark through there in West Lothian. What a first half for Davy Martindale's team.
Yeah, fantastic first half. I think Falkirk started the better. Had a couple of great chances with Tate and McGeever. Tate should have scored. I think Neil was also been too kind to him. I think he was probably about 12 yards out, free header. He puts it wide. Livingston's first attack of the game really comes from, I think it was Muirhead, takes a bad touch but then recovers really well, slides it across to Pittman, who arrives late as he's done in his whole career and makes it 1-0. From that, the game became a little bit scrappy, a couple injuries, Carey and Wilson for Livingston had to go off, and Ethan Ross, obviously a big blow for Falkirk, had to go off. And then right on the stroke of half-time, great play by Montgomery down the left-hand side, switches the play, opens it up, Lewis Smith cuts inside the defender and slews on into the top corner. Wonderful strike, you know, and it's a great half-time score for David Martindale and Livingston. 2-0 to Livingston.
Thank you to Callum Davison there. Next up, Paisley, St Mirren home to Motherwell. Let's get the half-time report from Rory Lloyd.
Yes, indeed, it's been Motherwell domination in terms of possession, Kenny, but it is still 0-0 here at half-time because of the lack of chances created from both sides, to be fair. St Mirren did have one after just 1 minute, or within the first minute, a chance for Mark O'Hara. He often finds himself around the penalty spot scoring goals for St Mirren, but on this occasion he couldn't get his left foot half volley on target, so it remained 0-0. Motherwell dominated after that. St Mirren pretty much posted missing for the rest of the half, other than a flurry of corners around the halfway mark. In 22 minutes, Ibrahim Saeed cut in from the right-hand side. George made himself big on the angle and managed to save it. 35 minutes in, and Maswinisi took the ball, cut inside on the right hand side and curled one just past the post. It was on his instep. He tried to find that far corner but couldn't get enough spin on it, and it went just wide. Kutrumbas went off injured, and Tom Sparrow come on to replace him at right back after about 40 minutes, and Richardson was booked late on for the most ridiculous attempt to try and claw back Lamelo with his arms. So listen, there's not a lot to report in terms of goal-mouth action. Motherwell, great to watch, but it will be a concern for Askew that they've not really created any chances whatsoever of note other than that Ibrahim Saeed one. So that's the reason we find ourselves at 0-0 at half-time, Kenny.
Thank you to Rory Oy. Let's get into the Championship. 4 games this afternoon. Wraith Rovers got off to a flyer down at Somerset Park. Ayr United against the Rovers. Let's hear from Chick Young.
Yep, Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 1. It's certainly been all Wraith in the first half. Playing with a bit of a breeze, I have to say, at their backs. Pouring in from the Firth, and sunny again down here in Ayrshire, but it was raining and it was windy, and it was all in support of Wraith in that first half, but they played some sweet football. The only goal of the first half came well within the first minute. I think we were timing it in about 40 odd seconds. Was a little bit of kicking about from the kick-off, and then it fell. A mistake at the back from Ayr United. It fell for Dylan Easton. He was 35, maybe 40 yards from goal. He saw the goalkeeper, David Mitchell, well off his line, and he certainly dinked it, was again with the wind behind him, but he just timed it absolute perfection and got it over the goalkeeper and into the net to put Rovers ahead. They threatened to add to that. They've had a lot of the ball. They've won a few corner kicks. They've really put the pressure on Mitchell in the Ayr United goal, but there was only one real effort, I think, for Ayr United in that first half. A pretty tame header from George Oakley from a corner kick on the right hand side. He was round about the penalty spot. He got the header on target, but it was an easy take for Josh Ray in the Wraith Rovers goal. So it's Rovers very much with a grip on the game, but it is only one goal to lead by. That great effort from Dylan Easton, and I'm sure Scott Brown down there, Scott Brown of Ayr United that is, trying to rally his players and get in about the Rovers in the second half. Half time here at Somerset Park is Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 1.
Thanks to Chick Young. Next stop, East End Park, and Fairmont at home to Airdrie. Let's hear from Willie Miller.
Yeah, Kenny, half-time 2-0 to the home side. You know, up to 40 minutes, it was competitive. And I have to say that both sets of players take a lot of credit in managing to deal with this wind. It's very strong wind, but they're adamant that they're going to get the ball down and pass it, and both of them did that. There was not a lot of goal-mouth action, a couple of piece in terms of chances created. Josh Cooper had a really good effort, well saved by Connolly. Connor Young inside the box, turned, but he didn't really make good contact with the left foot, and he struck it low, but it was an easy take. As far as Airdrie's concerned, probably their best chance came from Ewan Henderson. A really good save from Munn in goals. It was a free kick, and he struck it extremely well with a lot of curve, but the goalkeeper was up to that challenge. Another header from Aidan Wilson from a corner as well, but it was pretty weak and straight into the goalkeeper's hands to burst into action in 40 minutes. And what we're talking about here is quite something sensational from John Todd. Big, lanky, long-legged run forward, taking on 2-3 players and find themselves outside the box and deciding, well, I think I'm just going to hit this with my left foot. And my goodness, what a strike it was with his left foot. Far corner, postage stamp. Goalkeeper could do nothing but just watch as it flew into the back of the net. That burst things into life here for the home side. And then 3 minutes later, Andy Todd, simple one, great work down the right-hand side from Chaloka Mullen, who crossed it into the box. And there was Andy Todd. Quite a simple effort, just opened his boot up, side-footed it into the back of the net in the 43rd minute to give, at half-time, Dunfermline that 2-0 lead.
Thanks to Willie Miller. Partick Thistle 0, Morton 1. Ali Cropper with a goal on 33 minutes. Let's hear how things are going between Queen's Park and Arbroath there for us. Stuart Mitchell.
Yes, half-time here at Lesser Hampden. Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 0. Queen's Park, the home side, though, were the team to get more to grips with the wind in the first 12-15 minutes. Aidan Connolly had the best chance, but his shot sort of slowed up in the wind and started to dip towards the crossbar. Aidan McAdams did well to control the fingertips to push it over the bar. Late in the first half, there was some disappointment for Arbroath as experienced former St Mirren midfielder Ryan Flynn was down after a lengthy stoppage and had to be replaced through injury, with Ross Callaghan, once of Ross County, and Motherwell coming on in his place, and Arbroath really got to grips after that, got a lot more possession and started to threaten with a couple of chances. A Jack Wilkie free kick went sailing over the crossbar, and then Harry Cochrane tested Callum Ferry with a strong shot cutting in from the left. Ferry pushed it away out wide and there was no more danger. But for Queen's Park, what will be key in the second half for Sean Crichton's team is to get Aidan Connolly on the ball. He returns to the club after about 12 years away. He scored 6 goals at Raith Rovers last season, and when he cut in from the right side on the left foot, his low drive was pushed away by Aidan McAdams, and the Arbroath goal, the corner, didn't come to anything after that. So no goals at Lesser Hampden so far. Half-time, Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 0.
This season,
European dreams.
And this has been one of their best ever nights.
Live here. Sportsound is following Scotland's teams in continental competition.
Continuing with Victoria Pilsen versus Rangers.
Rangers continue their quest to reach the Champions League
as they take a 3-goal advantage across the Czech Republic.
Tuesday from 5:30.
Dessers scores!
Listen on digital radio or ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC at Radio Scotland. All the European action to come, of course, midweek. We'll look back on a terrific midweek for us just past. Also get Bobby's thoughts on that. I know Bobby's refereed in some of these what looked very intimidating stadiums, certainly that Dundee United and Hibs had to visit this midweek, but terrific performances in both, particularly Hibs, you'd have to say. They look in a very strong place, as do Rangers. Very, very good at home on Tuesday night after a really poor performance against Motherwell, albeit Motherwell very good last Saturday evening. Rangers back in action this evening, 5:45 kick-off at home to Stephen Presley's Dundee. We'll bring you the team news from there. We'll hear from both managers and we'll build up to that game a little later. We're on the telly today, BBC One Scotland, 4:25 until 5:25. So join us for that. Neil, just your thoughts on the game through there at Livingston. It's a real test now for John McGlynn, how he goes about trying to turn this one around.
Yes, listening to Callum summing up there, I think he was pretty on the money. Like in the Premier League, generally when you're going up against the old firm, you're thinking, right, if chances come your way and you don't take them, you get punished. And in today's game, I know we're not talking about the old firm here, but I just think that's the type of chances that you rue and you look back upon and you think, right, if we just take them, then it makes the game completely different. I like how Livingston are going about it. They've met fire with fire in terms of how they're playing through the thirds. Falkirk are continually trying to keep the ball on the deck. I know they've got a bit of threat in the pace if they want to go direct up top, but they've continued to try playing through the thirds. Livingston have suffered 2 very big blows with Kerrigan off and Wilson, but it hasn't disrupted how they've been playing. They've got a lot of experience in that side. That second goal from Lewis Smith was very special. I know he's been playing at the right back area, but he's clearly been encouraged again under Davey to get high on that side. That doesn't make the game done, but it puts Livingston in a very comfortable position. So a wee bit of what Callum was talking about, that Falkirk haven't suffered too many setbacks last season in terms of how they went about their business. This is a different question. They're now playing against familiar opposition, but in the top league, and that's where John will be asked to come up with maybe different solutions to certain problems that he's maybe not faced. This should be relatively straightforward because he knows the team, as I said, but it's in the big leagues where points become very, very important, and given the fact that they're playing against a side that they know so much about, that's why I said before the game that it's such a big game for both sides in terms of the points, you know.
It certainly feels it, doesn't it, Callum? And key to the success last season, I think, for Livingston was the recruitment from Davy Martindale, and he looks to, again, this season, quite a strong squad.
Yeah, I saw a few guys just actually in the stand who actually weren't involved today, so he's recruited well. He's recruited within his budget as well. You know, he's gone with kind of what he knows. He's tried to add a couple other players who maybe can make a difference, but I really like, I said, both teams really, they've kind of recruited within, they know the league. Livingston obviously got a lot of experience within the team as well. You know, Neil was talking about the 2 that left the pitch, but he's also got quite a lot with that, so it does help him and it helps him manage the team. So yeah, I think the squad's strong for Livingston, and again, these are the big games. These are the games Davey will be targeting to try and get 3 points, because they are tough to come by, especially with, I think, with the improvement of Hearts and Hibs. Aberdeen. So games like these have become so important during the season.
Teams back out in Paisley, Rory. Let's hope things are a bit better in the second 45.
Yeah, I would. I'd like just more chances. Penny, to be honest, some of the football from Motherwell has been really good to watch, really entertaining, really interesting. Almost a different way of playing from Motherwell. However, what I would say is that they've lacked cut the edge up top. So, be really interested to see if the second half can produce anything extra. I see Evan Mooney is coming on, as well as Sobowale. So we'll wait and see who's coming off. I think Ado was one of them. He's actually been really good in the games I've seen him this season, but he's struggled today, as has Jaden Richardson, who's been taken off as well. So a couple of changes for St Mirren. Hopefully it brings more goal-mouth action, because it's 0-0 as it stands, as the second half's just about to kick off.
Yeah, as predicted by the guy, Stephen Robinson, making some changes there. So all the second half action to come on Open All Mics right here on BBC Radio Scotland.
This is Open All Mics.
Goal! Oh, brilliant!
On BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. Before we start bouncing around the ground, just waiting to see, the game hasn't quite kicked off yet through there at Livingston. Bobby, we're chatting about the European performances. A great week for the Scottish clubs, and you were saying to me, I was in the studio and watching the pictures coming in, hearing the atmosphere from the Partizan Belgrade ground, from Rapid Vienna. It looked really, I don't know if intimidating's the right thing anymore, but you've obviously refereed there.
It's hostile, I'm fortunate enough to referee in both those stadiums, and it is hostile, and the players need to go and deal with that. The same as the match officials. It's a totally different environment for the match officials and for Scottish teams to go out there and performing, and I don't think you can underestimate Hibs' result, to go to Partizan and get a 2-0 victory. I don't think many people would have predicted that, as much as everyone's seen how Hibs improved last season. I don't think anyone would have expected that. They were unlucky, obviously, to lose out against Midtjylland, and then you see that draw, but to get that result was exceptional in that environment. Scottish football, I think people can be very critical at times, but I think we've got a good product now, and I think we can go and compete against these teams. I think it's about the belief of the players and the coaching staff, and I think you're seeing that this season.
And Partizan Belgrade.
Bobby,
on you go, Chick.
Can I just ask Bobby that this is a wee moment that we're well underway, incidentally, in the second half with 3 minutes at Somerset Park. Well, just an instant where remember Wraith Rovers are leading this game by a goal to about 0. Josh Ray, we know about the time wasting when the ball's in hand. Yeah. He's really wasting time with the by kicks. There's no deviation to the rules in that, Bobby, is there?
There's not. I've always been one that I would rather they went for a stop clock. I think they say in Champions League last year there was only an average 21.5 minutes of football each half. So I think you go for some, you play 25 to 30 minutes and stop the clock as you do in rugby. But there's nothing now. I mean, you can encourage that as much as you like, but I think goalkeepers are masters of that art, aren't they? Just delaying when it suits them. But there's nothing, no change to the laws that can encourage it.
A yellow card if you really abuse it, just by yellow card.
That's it, it'd be that standard kind of waving your finger from halfway, then you might move towards them, then the third time you might eventually caution the goalkeeper for time wasting.
Yeah, Brian McLaughlin's our reporter out at Partizan Belgrade, Bobby. He showed me a video today. It was taken an hour before kick-off. He was walking out the tunnel. It was absolutely electric.
It'll be full. I mean, it'll be full like 2 hours before kick-off.
Yeah, goal!
Goal for Arbroath at Lesser Hampden. A free kick left side of the penalty area. Ross Callaghan steps up, right-footed. It's low and it bounces just in front of Callum Ferry, but it beats the goalkeeper and it's in the back of the net. Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 1.
Yeah, just one of another challenging season ahead for Queen's. Just back to that.
Kenny, we have a penalty.
Oh, Derek, yes.
Yeah, it's for Thistle. I'm looking about. I tell you what, it's off the soft variety. Platoza has just come on second half, and he's just breaking into the box, and he takes his touch, and it's going away from goal. Not sure who the Morton player is exactly, but it was like kind of shoulder to shoulder, but he goes down. I don't know if he's kind of off balance, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the referee has gave a penalty kick. It's Callum Scott who's the ref. He's gave the penalty kick. So it looks as if it's Logan Chalmers that's got the ball. So what an opportunity early on in the second half for Thistle to draw level.
Yeah, we'll stay with you, Derek. You feel you really need this after the really disappointing start last weekend?
Yeah, and they're lucky to be in this position because Morton had 2 or 3 chances in that going into the later stages of the first half. He doubled their lead, so they've hung in there. The referee just making sure everybody's outside the box. A little blow of the whistle. Logan Chalmers steps up, no mistake. You can hear the reaction of the crowd. One apiece.
Yeah, Thistle back on level terms there. Queen of the South back in at home to Hamilton Accies. Reece Lyon with a goal in 46 minutes. Queens 1, Hamilton Accies 2. Confirmation of that goal for Arbroath. Ross Callaghan on 50 minutes away at Queen's Park. He's at a torrid time with injury, has Ross Callaghan, but on the score sheet today, and as Derek just telling us there, the equaliser from the penalty spot at Firhill, Partick Thistle 1, Morton 1. Yeah, I mean, just see when you go into these grounds as a referee, does that affect your performance? Do you feel under more pressure?
It's another goal! Arbroath are 2 up!
Wow!
Brilliant work on the right-hand side from Ryan Dow. It's just full of energy, as we've seen throughout his career. He clips the ball up across the high in the 6-yard area in the front face of goal, and there's Finlay Marshall flying in with the diving header, the man on loan from Aberdeen. And what a start to the second half for Arbroath. Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 2.
To your question, Ken, I think you're very aware of the atmosphere, but it doesn't change how you approach the game or how you react to situations. I think you develop that over time, the same as the players will develop that.
Big chance somewhere.
Yeah, Livingston. Yeah, Robbie Muirhead. His trademark squiggle strike. It's actually hit the top of the crossbar. Asking if John McGlinn's going to change it. If he's actually changed his formation this half, he's gone 3-5-2. He's brought Brian Graham on up front with McGeever, with Aguiman in behind. So definitely gone for a change. He wasn't happy with what he saw, so he's changed the system.
Neil,
nearly equaliser there, Kenny.
Yeah,
Dylan Watcher with a great shot from Dylan Watcher. He's maybe 25-30 yards out, drives it low, goalkeeper fears it, it spins off the grass with a bit of zip. The goalkeeper gets down, pushes it away. It's only as far as George Oakley. Oakley, I thought, had to score. Got another save the goalkeeper, and the third time another chance for Raith, and they get it away. The living dangers of Raith Rovers. They are certainly trying to slow the game down. 1-0 ahead, they're against the wind. Goalkeeper's taking an age over the by kicks, as I was saying to Bobby a minute or two ago, and now the throw-ins, they're letting the ball go away, get the ball boy to go and get another ball, throw it back, trying to kill the game. They're only 1-0 ahead.
Chance for Thistle, clean through. Oh, how's he missed it? That's more of a penalty than the first one. Fitzpatrick's a touch into the box. The player comes from behind. He's just about to slaughter. That's either the best tackle I've ever saw in my life or a penalty kick.
Well, see, these poor referees have got to look about me. These referees have got to make a very quick decision there. Yeah. Got to be fair to them.
What I do, when I'm at these grounds, I have a wee look about, even I have a look at who I'm sitting next to and ask them, and a wee shake of the head. I thought that was more of a penalty, but what a break it was. It was Chalmers again down the left-hand side. He plays it across. Do you know something, Aidan Fitzpatrick? I think he takes maybe just, well, of course he does, takes a little bit too much time. He takes 1-2 touch out his feet and fires it. He gets the shot off, but no, the Morton defence, I thought that looked a penalty, but not to be. Still 1 each here at Firhill.
Spartans 1, Dumbarton 2. Mark Stowe bringing the home side back into it in 47 minutes. So Neil, put yourself in Davy Martindale's shoes here. So he's got a 2-0 advantage. John McGlynn has changed shape. A wee chance here, actually, it's going to stop for a second. So what do you do with Davy Martin? How do you counter that? Do you just stay as you are, or do you have to respond to that?
I think I would let it sit for 5 minutes, looking at if Falkirk have changed shape. They certainly brought Mackie on as well at left back, taking Leon McCann off, but I think it's just keep it as is. They've been quite comfortable in the game. They've been looking a threat. If they start to pose problems, then you adapt to that. But I wouldn't, because our team changes when you're 2-0 up, it should almost like that seems to me as if then the opposition have taken more risk in their game. So they've had to adapt, which means that you're giving them more trouble. So it's much of the same for a 5-10 minute spell, and if you're getting bother from that change, then you counter it. But otherwise, I don't see Davy really kind of changing anything.
Willie, we're talking about intimidating European atmospheres. Any particular grounds that stand out for you?
Off the top of my head, Kenny, not really.
Never liked Cappielow, did you?
Chick just said you didn't really like Cappielow, did you?
Oh, Cappielow, yeah. Didn't like that one, but I'm trying to think of intimidation. I mean, a lot of the grounds that we played in were pretty detached, you know, kind of a big old-fashioned type of grounds. Not great atmospheres, nothing much on top of you. You know, even when we played like Bayern Munich, you know, it's a huge stadium. So I'm trying to think which one might have been. I think maybe some of the Eastern European countries. Yes.
Well, what about the old Airdrie Stadium?
The old what?
Remember that? Back in the day, I thought that was quite... Yeah, the old one. That was quite intimidating.
It was very intimidating. Very intimidating. It was very intimidating
for Airdrie as well.
It was intimidating both as a player when you look back at some of their players, and it was intimidating as a manager when I was a manager as well. When you had to walk, along the front. I wouldn't tell you what they called me as a player, Derek. When I used to come back from lying in the sun for about 3 weeks, and you went to Airdrie, you can imagine the kind of a chance I used to get. Anyway, what doesn't hurt you makes you stronger. Is that what they say? Or what doesn't kill you makes you stronger?
That's true. I mean, is intimidation a thing, or is it more inspirational? What did you find, Neil?
I didn't really get intimidated. It was there's certain grounds that I've played that you think, wow, what an atmosphere. But it's I think you enjoy being in that arena, like the Dortmund Stadium. 80,000 fans is special. Played there with Scotland and Rangers, and I remember playing at the Matchday Stadium against Valencia, which was incredible because
that's right,
it's
toppy, isn't it?
Very much like the Dortmund as well, like so steep and it's like a bowl. We were over at Bayern Munich when that stadium at Willie's talking about that's not really intimidating the team, probably more than the atmosphere, because it's so detached with the track round of it. I don't think as a player you feel the intimidation. I think you can feel the pressure coming from the stands as a team, particularly if you're under pressure.
Callum, it was terrific, wasn't it? From Hibs and from Dundee United midweek, both in with a great chance now of progressing to the playoff round. Yeah, definitely great performance by both of them. It's what you want to see, isn't it? You want to see our teams competing well in Europe at those type of places. Intimidating, it's probably not as quite intimidating as it used to be, but again, it's just a great atmosphere. It's great when you play in Europe and you play. Hold on a minute, he's got a chance here. Winter's in and goal. Oh, it's great ball by Henderson. So I think for me, can all the teams get through? Can the coefficient go up? Can we see them playing in Europe? It's going to be hard for the teams if they qualify, but it's what you want to see, isn't it? And listen, we'd love to see young Scottish talent. Julie, Michael Stewart was in here with me, Tony Docherty as well on Thursday night. Michael was raving about Kieran Bowie. I mean, the potential of that boy. He says Scotland number 9 right now. Yeah, I think when you look at the game, or even just how he started the season last weekend, getting the 2 goals, and then he was a massive part of the Hibs side midweek as well. I think he was involved he draws fouls, he's physical, he's exactly what Hibs need when they've got someone like Martin Boyle as well, who's got an awful lot of pace. I think it's ideal then for him to be playing up as well. Desperately trying to get somebody in a Scotland jersey who's going to produce these goals, and fingers crossed it could be him. And hopefully Lauren Shankland, now he's back in his proper position. There's a VAR check on here, Bobby. So Callum, at your game, there's a stoppage there. The referees... Yeah, I think it's a handball. I think it's a check. I think Henderson's come and blocked the shot, and whether his hand's raised or not, but it's taken an awful long time to make a decision. Davies' arms are going up in the air. So he's obviously thinking it's a penalty. We've not had a replay, have we, Bobby? No, there's been no replay, thankfully, over the last couple. It's gone to VAR. I was going to say, a bit sheepish there, Bobby, when he was looking back. Generally, that's a telltale sign, isn't it? I think the longer it goes on, the more nervous they get, isn't it? Yeah, he's away to check. Right, so we've not got replays on this feed coming into the studio here, but hopefully we'll see over the referee's shoulder to the VAR screen, Bobby. So hopefully it's difficult for you. We're probably not going to get a good view of it here, I don't think.
Strong tackle by Gogic. I think the referee might come back to this. He's already been booked. Right, we'll take a look at that one. So here we are, Bobby. What are you doing there?
So again, the defender, where he's trying to get his hands out of the way and he's trying to turn away, but his hands are away from his body. I think they will award a penalty kick here.
Here we go. Penalty. Yeah, Livingston. Yeah, well, here we go. This could kill this one off here. Yeah, mate, it's got to be, hasn't it?
You can feel really sorry for the defender. He comes across to block it, he's turning his back, he's actually in the movement of turning away from the ball that actually...
And he's trying to drag, you can see because his elbow's getting tight to his body, which he's trying to drag his arms in. Yeah. But his forearm is extended. As soon as you turn your body, you open up. I think you've just got to face up to it now. I think that's the way defenders need to think. Just face up to the shot and take it within your body. And I think as soon as you open up and you're that hands out there, you're going to award a penalty kick. I think we're doing the right thing and moving away from every handball.
It's changed, hasn't it? It's better.
But I would still expect in the current guidelines a penalty to be given there.
Right, over to you.
It's Muirhead coming up to take it. Left-footed. Here he goes. Save! Fantastic save down the goalkeeper's left-hand side. Muirhead's gone hard and low to the goalkeeper's left-hand side, but gets down to the well and actually holds on to the ball. Terrific save by Scott Bain.
Yeah, I was just about to praise Robbie Muirhead. I think he's been terrific the last couple of years. Very reliable for Davy Martindale. Neil, but it'd be hugely disappointed with that. That could have killed things off.
Yeah, that would have just killed the game. But I actually, maybe it's a wee bit of justice for Henderson, because I felt it was really harsh. I know Bobby's to the letter of the law, then fair enough, but I didn't think it was a penalty.
Yeah, I agree with you, Neil. I think those are really hard ones to give, isn't it? Because there's no intention there. He's trying to get his body by his side. It's hard to actually physically do that. It's actually get your hand by your side when you're trying to block a shot.
But nonetheless, I thought it was actually a poor penalty.
Yeah, but they're told, the players are told, aren't they?
It comes from FIFA to UEFA to the SFA. If it's a shot and goal and the hand's out from the body,
we
understand it. We understand that. It's just hard.
And also understand from a players and coaches' perspective that he's doing everything he can to keep his hands out the way, but face
Bobby,
up to it. Yes.
See, I was at the VAR meeting with Willie Collum, who said that they are aware. Very aware, obviously they're in the know that that's the rules and things, but there's such an overwhelming want in this country, unanimously, to see. I've not seen that particular instance, but the way it's described, that they would be prepared to come away from that to implement what everyone else wants to see, which is penalties not given for the likes of that instance you're talking about.
Chance, Rory.
I'll just let you do that out, Rory. I think you're right, and then that's the SFA making a stand again what FIFA and UEFA are again. I mean, there's nothing to say they can't do that, but like you say, if there's an overwhelming opinion, then the SFA do have the authority to do that.
Right, what's happening in the game through in Paisley? Just saw a wee half chance there for St Mirren, couple of efforts blocked there, Rory.
Yes, there was a couple of efforts blocked, and it's went out for a corner. I mean, the final third, the delivery has been awful from all wing-backs, really. Sparrow and Longello have had opportunities to put the ball in. It's been floaty into the keeper's hands. Very difficult with the wind, but still should be doing better. John and Soboali, the sub as well, have done the same. Really poor deliveries, so...
Look, you just seen the corner flag there, the wind. It's really difficult conditions, isn't it?
Watch the corner coming in. It's from Phillips, and it almost... He hits it pretty hard, but it doesn't even reach the front post. But Motherwell, again, like, their build-up play is good, but you can't really say they deserve to be in the lead, because they're not banging on the door and asking questions of Shamal George on a consistent basis. So Mirren have been slightly better in this second half without pulling up any trees, and that's why we find ourselves still at 0-0.
Thank you to Rory Lloyd. So in the 2-3 o'clock kickoffs in the top flight this afternoon, Livingston 2, Falkirk 0, Muirhead just with a penalty save there in the past couple of minutes for the home side. St Mirren 0, Motherwell 0. As Rory telling us, a real lack of chances in that game. Let's get into the Championship. 4 games this afternoon, of course, after St Johnstone's late win 1-0 away at Ross County last night. That match, of course, was on BBC Scotland. So Ayr United at home to Wraith Rovers. Let's get the latest from Chick Young.
Yeah, Ayr United, Scott Brown just made a double substitution. Jude Bonner, Ethan Walker have gone off, and one of the players have brought Dom Thomas, but Curtis Main. So now Curtis Main and George Oakley up front for Ayr United, really going to bombard this Wraith Rovers defence. It's all turned around. The tide has turned in this game, because it was all Rovers the first half. It's all United in the second half. There's a real onslaught into the penalty area at the moment. Cross balls left, right, coming into it. They can't get the ball in the net. They've had chances, and for me, Wraith Rovers have tried to slow this game down, trying to take the sting right out of it, and I think it's actually backfiring on them a little bit. They haven't had the possession they had in the first half, and suddenly the door has been opened a bit for Ayr United to try and get this equaliser. It's still 1-0 to the Rovers at the moment, though.
In the next Cardiff Thistle 2, Peterhead 0, Liam Soule with the second goal for the home side on 55 minutes. It's now Hamilton Accies 4-1 up away at Queen of the South. Stephen Bradley with the fourth goal there on 61 minutes. Let's get to Willie Miller. He is at East End Park for us this afternoon. Dunfermline home to Airdrie. What's happening, Willie?
Yeah, first 40 minutes of the first half, there wasn't too much happening. Plenty of effort. It was a competitive game, and with Dunfermline getting the 2 goals in the last 5 minutes, 1 in 40 and 1 in 43. I thought that they'd go on to dominate in the second half, Kenny, but that hasn't happened. It's just reverted back to quite an even game. Not enough lot happening in and around the goals. Plenty of effort, plenty of enthusiasm, good contact as well between player and ball, and both teams trying to build things up in the very windy conditions. So you give them credit for that, but for me, you know, there's got to be more positivity in and around the box, and I just don't see it. And I thought that Dunfermline would have that in the second half after going 2-0 up. They're still well in control of this game at 2-0, and that's how it stands at this moment in time.
Kenny, Motherwell have got a free kick about 35 yards out. Callum Slattery standing over it. I don't know with the wind whether he'll have a wee pop here, the swizzle ball or whatever Callum Davidson called it. Knuckleball to me, but we'll wait and see if he hits it. Maswanisi has given Marcus Fraser a torrid time today. Marcus Fraser's Mr. Reliable, you know, very, very steady, but he's struggled today. He's just been booked for hauling him down, which has led to this free kick. So I think he might have a wee pop at goal here, about 35 yards out. The referee's just sorting the wall, so we'll see.
Let's hope so, because there's been a real lack of chances there. We're on the television about a minute and a half's time on BBC One Scotland. 4:25 right through until 5:25. Remember, we've got sports scene tonight. Should be really, really good. 50-year anniversary today, and also 5:45 on the radio. Full commentary to come from the game at Ibrox. Rangers, who were dreadful last Saturday night, very good on Tuesday night against Dundee, who've had a really difficult start to this season. So just watching the pictures coming into the studio, I think we should say to listeners at home, the guys all telling us, we can see the corner flags, for example, in some of these games coming into the studio. Really, really blustery conditions out there today. Perhaps explains the lack of goals across the country, but no shortage of excitement as ever in Scottish football. Yeah, we ooh and ah there from somebody.
No. Just a good day to get the washing out, Kenny. Yeah. I tell you what, Kenny, this has been it's a good game now. You see the first half hour, absolutely nothing up until the goal. But since then, we've got a real game in our hands. So I think the reason is it's the Thistle frontmen, in terms of Chalmers and Fitzpatrick. They were really rigid in terms of they were hugging the touchline. I think they've been allowed a little bit more freedom, you know, just to come in a little bit and join up with the midfield and Tony Watt, who's the focal point. So that they've done a hell of a lot better in the second half. But it's Morton here in the attack. It's Deloitte, it's a wee half chance. He just hits it, you know, at the angle well over. But yeah, it's in the balance. But it's Thistle that are looking the more lightly so far. We've played about 65 minutes, so it's a far better game than it was in the first half hour.
Yeah, sounds a very good game there at Firhill. Some boos ringing out around the country. Welcome to viewers who have joined us on BBC One. You are watching Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. No shortage of drama as ever right across the country this afternoon. Julie Fleeting, Neil McCann and Bobby Madden alongside me in the studio. We'll have a special guest joining us late in the programme. Stay tuned for that. Let's take you on a trip around the country. Two games kicking off at 3 o'clock in the top flight this afternoon. Let's get to West Lothian, the game between Livingston and Falkirk. There for us, Callum Davison. Give us the latest, Callum.
Yeah, Livingston actually, Falkirk changed their shape second half, but actually Livingston, the team bossing it. They've had a couple of good chances second half. Obviously they've had a missed penalty from Muirhead, which might come back to bite them. Falkirk haven't really offered anything second half. Here we go, there's a cross in the box, there's a chance. Oh, he's hit his own player. Ross McGeever's headed it straight into Graham. He's had a great chance. That's probably Falkirk's best chance this half. The system hasn't really suited them. They haven't really settled into their shape, and it's mostly Livingston in this second half.
And we were saying earlier on, Callum, that David Martindale, key to the success of last season and what will be key to any success they have this campaign, is a very good recruitment he's had.
Yeah, definitely the strength and depth. I think that's the biggest thing when you get to this level. It's having the strength in Championship. It's probably your starting 11. Is the big thing without any injuries. When you get to the Premier League, it's more your strength and depth, because you're going to get injuries. You're going to have high intensity games that you're playing. You're going to have players that can be robust enough to play. So yeah, really good recruitment by him so far.
It's been a real struggle, Julie, hasn't it, for John McGlynn's side? They're not used to losing games, you know, back-to-back promotions. It's a big step up, isn't it, into the top flight this campaign?
Yeah, it's, although this game this afternoon is one that a team that they'll know really well, a ground that they'll know really well from last season. So a game where they probably had high hopes of getting all 3 points, but they've come up against an extremely strong Livingston side. I think they've really struggled against them this afternoon, and haven't really created too many clear-cut opportunities either.
League Two favourites, East Kilbride are 1-0 away Elgin City. Nathan Flanagan with that goal on 70 minutes. Next stop, Paisley. St Mirren at home to Motherwell. There for us is Rory Loy.
Yes, indeed, Kenny. It's 0-0 here in Paisley. Motherwell have been excellent in terms of the possession and keeping the ball. However, they've really struggled to create chances. In the first half, There was a chance right at the start for Mark O'Hara of St Mirren, followed up by 22 minutes, a chance for Ibrahim Said on the angle, which was a good save. Flurry of corners for St Mirren and a wee half chance for Mas Wanise after that. In the second half, there's not been a lot of chances. Young Evan Mooney, who came on at half times, had one there, and he's just made a treble change, Stephen Robinson, which probably speaks to how unhappy he's been. He made 2 at half time as well. Richard King's come on, Conor McMenamin's come on, Jonah Youngus come on, and he's taken off Mark O'Hara, the captain, and Marcus Fraser, who I'm pretty sure had a record of playing every minute last season. I did say he was struggling ever so slightly with Mas Wanise, so it's 0-0 here, and not the best version of St Mirren we've seen. Motherwell playing well, struggling to create chances.
Yeah, Neil, you used the word passive earlier on in relation to St Mirren. They just don't look themselves today.
No, they don't. Young Mooney coming on is just it's a half chance, a little stab at it. He's better than that young kid, but yeah, they just don't seem to have their same energy levels that they showed even against Celtic. I thought they were brilliant at Celtic Park last week, but yeah, there's something
it's all
missing.
the way in.
Yeah,
it's another for Arbroath.
Right, Stuart Mitchell is at Lesser Hampden for us this afternoon, and the away side in cruise control there now.
Yes, now Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 3, a free kick on the right side of the penalty box. Jack Wilkie stepping up left-footed and went all the way through a crowd of bodies. Callum Ferry looked unsighted at it, but what a second-half performance this has been from the Smokies. It was an even first half, but they've come out in fire. A goal in 49 minutes from a free kick of Ross Callaghan. 2 minutes later, Finlay Marshall making it 2-0. And now, with 26.5 minutes gone in the second half, Jack Wilkie with Arbroath's third. Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 3.
Absolutely fantastic for them. Just promoted, of course, after a great title success last campaign. Very good in their opener away. Sorry, at home to Ayr United last Friday night. And following on from that in big style this afternoon. Let's get to the game at Somerset Park. Ayr United at home to Wraith Rovers and get the latest from Chick Young.
Yep, that's Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 1. That goal came, seems a nice age ago, the first 40 seconds. A wonderful piece of vision from Dylan Easton. It was a mistake there, United defence. He saw the goalkeeper off his line and he just dinked it in, maybe chipped it in from a wind-assisted goal. The ball floating into the net to put Wraith Rovers ahead. With the first half saw Ayr really toil into the wind, and the Wraith Rovers have possession, create opportunities, and Ayr created nothing. Second half, it's been all Ayr United. They've got forward time after time. Too much pace. I think Scott Brown's going nuts at the goalkeeper David Mitchell with some of these dead ball kicks, which actually have got out for a by kick at the other end of the pitch. That'll give you an idea of the ferocity of the wind, and he's wanting to spread the ball a little bit, maybe just take some pace off it and try and find some players in the middle of the park. There's been no passing out from the back in terms of a short game from Ayr United. It's the long ball they're going for. It is working up to a point, but they just cannot find that equaliser. It remains here at Somerset Park. Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 1. There's been a bit of a clash there, Kenny, just on the far side, 2 players down. We'll see how that pans out, but it's 1-0, as I say, to the visitors at the moment.
Thank you to Chick Young. Big things expected of Dunfermline this season. Neil Lennon, of course, in charge. There has been serious investment there, and certainly Will Miller this afternoon, they're delivering.
Yeah, they had a really a good 5-minute spell just before half-time, Kenny. Other than that, it's been pretty even, I would suggest. You know, Dunfermline shading it with chances that they haven't put the ball in the back of the net, but, you know, Airdrie are not out of it as yet. They really need, you know, to find something. Mockery did really well dancing in the byline just a few minutes ago. Great cross. He's playing as the one striker. There was no one in the box to take advantage of a cross. It was just a simple tap-in if red jersey had been there. So, you know, Airdrie, they're still in this game. Dunfermline have kind of bossed it up to a point, and obviously getting the 2 goals as well, and they're in a great position to take the 3 points. But don't feel that it's over yet, but I do feel that Dunfermline has got enough to see this game out. Still 2-0 for the home side.
Thank you to Willie Miller there. Sounds Derek Ferguson like a very decent game at Firhill. Partick Thistle getting themselves right back into this game now.
Yeah, it's Partick Thistle 1, Morton 1 at the moment, Kenny. Yeah, you're right, the first half hour of this game, it was pretty poor to say the least, but it all changed in 33 minutes. Morton getting into the lead, an Eamon Brophy shot breaking to Ali Crawford, 8 yards out. and he stroked the ball home into the second half. 5 minutes into the second half, the equaliser, it came from its sub. Partick Thistle sub Souza brought down, soft one in my opinion, but it was Logan Chalmers stepping up to calmly slot home. The football in the second half, it's been far better, and both teams getting into the latter stages now. You know, it's up for grabs. Thistle looking probably the more likelier, getting their wide men more involved on the ball, but don't count out this Morton side because they've got a lot of character, a lot of grit about them, so all to play for. It's Thistle 1, Morton 1 at the moment.
No, Kenny, I know we're 50 years of sports scene. This feels like I'm watching on a portable here, the size of the screen that we're trying to see down in the corner. But just a wee bit about the tactics in terms of what we're watching. Motherwell away from home against St Mirren, I don't think anyone would have suggested that they would have 70% of possession. That's the stats that's sort of coming up now. So you can see the enjoyment of possession that they've got. But I spoke already about the little kind of short one for Dinger being the main one that comes and starts things for Motherwell, and I felt that St Mirren could just adapt their tactics and instead of playing a flat three just sit somebody on him. But what Motherwell are doing really well is always making sure that there's a 10 for them to play through the press. So it's a wee bit of kind of twist for Stevie Robson, I think, to get a grip of the game. It's easily adapted because he's got 3 centre-backs against 1 striker. So all he needs is one of those centre-backs to step into that number 10, whether it be Just that's coming in there or it's Slattery that's involved. But they've got no control of the game, and that is backed up by the possession stats. So I've said about the lack of aggression St Mirren have got, but they're keeping their spare man at the back, and I just wonder whether if he adapts Stevie by just stepping a centre-back in there, just to nullify the 10, that'll allow them then to get higher up and engage more and maybe steal more of the possession in St Mirren's final third, attacking third. They might get more joy in the game.
Julie, I think we should applaud the approach of Jens Bertolascu. I know the Motherwell fans were delighted, particularly that second half performance at home to Rangers last Saturday evening. It's a really good watch for them now, isn't it? There are no negative tactics, very open, very attacking.
Yeah, really different for them now, and I think last week, with it being against Rangers, you were unsure what you were going to see. I think quite often teams play a different way when they're up against the Old Firm. I think all credit to Motherwell, they came out and stuck to how they want to play this season. I think they've continued to do that again this afternoon. I think the most disappointing part has been in the final third for Motherwell.
Penalty to Falkirk, a lifeline here.
Right, OK, this could be a massive moment in that match. Just talk us through. We've got Bobby Madden in the studio. Bobby, I'll try and get a look at the replay of that one. The referee's pointed the spot. Callum, just talk us through the incident.
Yeah, it was Keelan Adams who drove inside, and it was Macaulay Tate just leaned on him. It actually looks a really soft penalty. And it'd be interesting to see where the first contact is.
I thought he was falling over, Callum, as he got to the box.
It looks like it. Macaulay Tate looks a wee bit like upset by it because it doesn't look as though he made any attempt to play the ball. It's just like when your bodies collide.
Yeah, the tackle looks off balance, as you say, Callum. It is very close to the penalty area line as well, so there's a couple of things for the VAR to check just as we await on a replay.
Yeah, we're not sure we're getting a replay on here. There's a problem with the feed. Earlier on, what we did actually, we got a view of the VAR incident as the match official was looking at it after he was called over. So I want you to explain that as well later, Bobby. But the referee right now, he'll just be getting spoken to.
He's given a free kick, I think.
So he's been told it's outside, Bobby.
Yeah, initial contact was also outside.
Yeah, so they don't need to go at the monitor then. Factual decision, first contact is outside the penalty area, saves you that. Going over to the
Alex
screen.
Gogic.
So, yeah,
very close to putting someone one up.
Good spot, Callum.
Right, OK, so hold on, we'll go back to Rory in just 1 second, just to finish up on things there in that game, because there was a penalty awarded earlier on, Bobby. We've seen fewer penalties awarded for handballs over the past year or so, but you felt it was a correct decision. Robbie Muirhead's effort was saved, but it was a correct decision to award Levy the penalty.
With the current guidelines, yes.
Goal!
Right, goal!
From the resulting free kick. Oh no, yeah, it's a goal. I'm not sure, it was Ross McGeever. I think it was a great ball by Miller into the box. He's just flicked into the top corner. Livingston 2, Falkirk 1.
Right, they're right back in this game now. We'll just get a replay, hopefully, of that goal. John McGlynn on the touchline. There's some real hope for his side, Bobby, but it just shows how big that save could be, that Muirhead opportunity. It was the right decision to give the penalty, but a poor penalty from the player.
Yeah, the execution of the penalty wasn't great, but I think in current guidelines the penalty award was correct and given by VAR as Liam Henderson turned away to block the shot on goal.
East Fife 0, Alloa Athletic 1, David Devine on 73 minutes. Stranraer 1, Edinburgh City 1, Jack Duncan with equaliser for the away side there. We're still waiting on a replay, Neil, for that goal for Falkirk through there, but we're just waiting. Actually, the referee's just delaying, as ever. All the goals, of course, are checked. The referee's on our screen right now. He's been spoken to by his colleagues in VAR HQ.
It looked fine, a brilliant delivery, in-swinger, left-footed. It looked like everybody was getting sucked towards the back post, if it was going to go long with a clip or maybe a drive towards the back post. But
I didn't see anything wrong with it. I didn't see on the line. Didn't see anything wrong with
They're
it.
taking a while though, aren't they?
It's a really good run across the kind of front post area, and it's just a little glance into the top corner. Brilliant header, brilliant delivery.
Yeah, former colleague of us, Steve McGinn, just panned to him. He, of course, is now in the Falkirk coaching team. John McGlynn was asking him. He's looking at the monitor there, so there's maybe a wee bit of concern on that Falkirk bench. We're just waiting for the final decision made. Goal. Right back in it. Livingston 2, Falkirk 1. Ross McKeever with that goal on 74 minutes. Stay tuned to hear from Davy Martindale. If they don't win that game, he will be absolutely livid. Livingston, they seem to be cruising. As we said, they had the chance from the spot. Muirhead's penalty kick, it was poor, it was saved. That was 2-0 at that point. They would have killed the game off. Falkirk now right back in this match. Let's get back to the other top flight game that's kicked off at 3 o'clock this afternoon. That game is in Paisley. Rory Loy is there for us. Is the game starting to open up a wee bit now, Rory?
Yes, it's starting to open up massively, and if Ayunga would lift his head, then Evan Mooney is in. Wait till you see this, Neil Julie. How he doesn't see him, I have no idea.
He could have just hooked it over his shoulder as well. A young kid was through.
Yeah, he was through in goal, but Alex Gogic should have put St Mirren one up. Conor McMenamin bucking the trend in this game and putting in a fantastic delivery into the box. And Gogic, what looked from point-blank range, brings the best out in Ward, who tipped it over. From the resultant corner, the second phase of play, Keanu Bacchus drives into the box, and it was Ward again who stopped him. So St Mirren eventually starting to have a say in this game. There's not been a lot in terms of goal-mouth action, but one which hopefully will make the sports scene highlight reels is Elliot's Watt. He had a lovely little turn in the middle of the pitch. Fantastic piece of vision and skill. So that's definitely something to pick up on if there's no goals in this game.
What's that reaction, Rory, from the home fans there? Because they expect a certain level of performance from their team, and we know what Stephen Robinson teams, what they're like, what they deliver. They're very physical, they're well organised, they're up and at them, but it's been way off it today. Have the fans been showing the frustration there?
They've been frustrated. I don't think it's necessarily been directed to Stephen Robinson or anyone in particular, because he's done so fantastically well here. You can't play at the top of your game every week, but they have been so far off it today in large spades of the game that it is surprising. He's rang the changes, he's made the changes, and they've been better in the last 10 minutes or so, but I think you've got to give Motherwell credit as well for the way they've moved the ball and passed the ball. But listen, I still wouldn't rule out St Mirren going on and getting the winner in this game, Kenny.
Yeah, let's hope there's a goal in that game. What, around about 7 or 8 minutes to play plus stoppage time there. We've got both games coming into the studio here. Neil, we commented on this earlier on, and Callum was saying how good it looks from me there, but the difference it makes, that new artificial pitch through there at Livingston, because that was a big problem. You felt when the games were in telly, that old pitch, it was so bare, it was shiny, it looked terrible. It looks good today, and I think it plays quite well as well.
Well, it looks like it. I couldn't tell you from experience, Kenny, but it certainly looks as if it's bouncing a lot better, it's moving a lot better. It'll still get dry, it'll still get sticky. I think the big change for Falkirk with Brian Green coming up.
Right, another goal going in.
Queen's Park reply. It's now Queen's Park 1, Arbroath 3. Arbroath have had a couple of opportunities to extend their lead, but unable to convert. And it's Josh Fowler just twisting and turning inside the area, unleashing the shot left-footed. It comes off the post. Aidan McAdams beaten in the Arbroath goal. Is there time left? Queen's Park 1, Arbroath 3.
Yeah, perhaps too little, too late there. At least a rally from the home side. But Arbroath, as I said, very good on Friday night against Ayr United, and they look to be in course for 3 points this afternoon. Yes, Derek.
Can you describe that pitch again to me?
It just looks fantastic.
Pitch.
It looks great.
No, describe it. It's bare.
No,
shiny.
No. See, the last pitch there, it looked terrible.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you were describing me and Chick Young's Barnet there. You know, the way you were talking.
And there's somebody in the studio a bit uncomfortable with that as well, I can tell you, sitting right to the ends.
A long, convoluted way to get a bit of slagging in, Fergus. That's a disgrace.
He doesn't miss an opportunity, does he? Derek, you're talking about your game at Firhill, Derek. It's a real challenge, isn't it, for Mark Wilson? I think it was a surprising choice for the job. They did very, very well, of course, in the League Cup campaign. Got a doing last weekend in Perth. Important to take something this afternoon.
Yeah, and they're going all out for a win. You can see that it was pretty shrewd of Mark to bring in Alec Ray as well. You know, pretty experienced in that role, obviously working with Rangers recently as well, so I know Alec pretty well, so good right-hand man. Listen, they're giving it everything. They've changed tactics a little bit. They've been a little bit unlucky. They're still getting themselves forward at every opportunity. Just need a real clear chance. I'm going back to that Fitzpatrick one. I'm still not sure whether it was a penalty or whether, you know, he just took maybe a little bit too long, but they've been far better this second half. They'll be disappointed with first half hour because this is a big crowd here at Firhill, you know, and they expect to win this today. So we've still got about 6 minutes to go. So don't count them out yet, Kenny.
No, you would never count them out. 3 games kicking off in the top flight. 2 at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Livingston 2, Falkirk 1, St Mirren 0, Motherwell 0. Rangers against Dundee kicks off at 5:45. Full coverage of that one right here on BBC Radio Scotland. On the television, we'll get the team news for you, and we'll hear from our pundits here just to set the scene for the game. Rangers very good on Tuesday night, as I said. Dundee, it's been a real struggle so far for Stephen Presley. Let's get back to the game between Livingston and Falkirk. Callum Davidson, Falkirk right back in it now. They're pushing for that equaliser.
I would say pushing it. The goal came against the run of play a little bit. You know, the Falkirk haven't really done much, but again, it's just those little things. Dave Marney's made a couple of changes. He took Muirhead and Smith off, who are probably their 2 best players, and 2 guys who are probably about 6'5" that have come on for them, haven't won a header yet. So he'll be going nuts at that, because again, they've kind of lost a bit of momentum in the game. And probably for me, it's come from the 2 guys up front who's brought on. He'll be expecting more. I can see him at the sideline going nuts at them, as he sometimes does, Davey. So they haven't really pushed too much, Falkirk. It's been a wee bit scrappy. There's been a lot of free kicks, a lot of fouls in this game.
Yeah, we've seen pictures of John McGlynn, a far more camera character on the touchline. Julie there, hands on his hips there as he hopes his side can get back into it. Be kind of role reversal if Livingston do get pegged back. Of course, they fought their way back in against Kilmarnock last weekend, got themselves a point. We're actually pushing for a winner at the end against the 10 men. But if he does drop any points today, he is going to be livid.
Yeah, you would be, just the way the game had panned out. I think they had done enough early on in the game to see it out. I think second half, despite Falkirk changing formation, I think for me Livingston still looked like the side who were going to get the next goal. Obviously the penalty miss is a massive blow for them, but all credit to Falkirk. They've got themselves back into it and they're making it an exciting end to the game.
Edinburgh City 2-0 now away at Stranraer. Bradley Barnett with the goal there on 88 minutes. So put yourself in a tactical situation. Davy Martindale now, Neil, how do you just shore things up and get through to the end of this game?
Well, he's gone a 4-1-4-1. I think Callum hopefully will back that up. It looks like,
yep.
And they said they're physical, but they need to stem the flow a wee bit from Falkirk, because they've got Arfield on the park now, Aguiman, Miller on the left-hand side, and it's Graham. It's actually a focal point, so they've got a real bounce. And Graham, for what he's good at, a great goal return again from Partick last year, but his actual hold-up play will allow particularly Arfield, Aguiman and Miller to get in touch. So they need to make sure they're screening well, Kenny. That one in front will need to get across. It might adapt it again and go a 2 and a 3, and it becomes a 4-5-1, and just get a wee bit of control in the game. Callum, would you say that's...
Yeah, that's right. He's made all his changes though. He's obviously made all 5 subs. So it's one of those. For me, it's the two guys he's brought up front. They've got to do better for him. They've got to hold it in. They've got to hold it up. They've got to let him get up the pitch. You know, they're struggling to actually get any kind of foothold in the game. It's not become the back players. The back players have been really good for Livingston. It's the ones for the pitch have got to do better. And once they can get control of the ball, then that will definitely help them see the game out.
Was Brian Graham a surprising signing for Falkirk for you, Callum?
I don't think it's goal return. I think you probably look at his age and where he is, his career, but I think it's, you know, the way Falkirk play kind of probably really suited the way Falkirk play.
Right, that was a chance for Chick down there at Somerset Park.
This game has become bonkers actually, because the goalkeeper, David Mitchell, the United goalkeeper, he's taken 2 clubs too many. He's played the ball from by kicks and he's gone out the other end in the wind. He's played it a dead ball. He's driven it low and hard. It's going for a by kick again. He needs to be dinked forward a little bit.
He needs to play he'll need to play a knuckleball. He needs to play the wee knuckleball.
And now we've got a game. It's turned into games of head tennis with Ayr just trying to knock the ball into the box and Wraith Rovers get it out again. All shape of footballs just get out the window here as they hanging on. Remember, Wraith are leading by a goal to 0. This ain't a beautiful football match anymore, but in its own way, it's quite entertaining.
What about Scott Brown? Is he quite entertaining in the touchline? Chick, we remember his comments when they lost out in the playoffs. I think a lot of us weren't sure if he would actually stay on as Ayr United manager. He was very unhappy with the performance last Friday night. What's he like in the touchline?
Emotional. He's joined in the observation of David Mitchell. He's trying to spread his arms. He's saying, try and get it wide. You're putting it down the middle and it's going past everyone. Get a bit of width in it, take some pace off it. He's going bonkers. The other Scott Brown, who's the captain of Wraith Rovers, has just been substituted. So maybe it is a game. That's what we call a tackle. That's why I was never a brave football player. That coming in, that challenge, just coming in there from Kyle Ewer. The Ayr United are going for it here. They've only got a few minutes left in which to try and grab an equaliser, but everyone up, nearly everyone bar the Ayr United goalkeeper now inside or around the Wraith Rovers 18-yard box. Long throw comes in and it's pretty useless.
Right, let's get back to Firhill. It's very much on edge there. Derek Ferguson deep into the closing stages.
Yeah, it's became a little bit scrappy. The ball's like a hot potato, but you can just see both sides. They're giving it their all, but they're just losing a little bit of calmness. But that's what probably you need, getting into the last few minutes of the game. But sometimes players just want it so much. So yeah, just like Chick's game, maybe not as bonkers, but certainly a little bit more scrappy than I've been used to in the second half. So one each getting into time added on.
Right, let's get to East End Park. Willie Miller is there for us, the home side in total control, Willie.
Yeah, still 2-0 here, Kenny, and Dunfermline have kind of went to the back five. They're not allowing their wing backs to get forward, so they're trying to just control the lead that they've built up here in that 5-minute spell just before half time. And they're good value for it in the second half. Josh Cooper's been really prominent with a couple of efforts. Charlie Gilmer as well had a low drive that was well saved. And Airdrie, though, didn't look to be out it. They played some nice football and they continued to play some nice football, but at the same time, nothing up front at all to disturb Mason Nunn in goal. So it's looking very much like Dunfermline are going to see this one out pretty comfortably. They're looking very strong, Kenny, I would say. They're a big physical side. They like to, pass the ball on the ground as well. So I'm not, saying that detrimentally in terms of what Neil Lennon's building here. So they look well equipped for the season ahead, and they're winning 2-0 here at this moment in time.
It's an interesting project there, isn't it, Bobby? Because there is serious investment. They've got a serious manager there, Neil Lennon. Man, you would have crossed paths with many times with how passionate Neil Lennon is.
I mean, and that's it. And I think because they have supported him, they'll expect results, immediate results. But as we spoke about earlier, the Championship is a very competitive league this season.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's always very tough to call, although St Johnstone are off to an absolute fire. Let's get back to the game in Paisley. What's happening there now, Rory Loy?
Not an awful lot, to be honest with you, Kenny. The last 10 minutes or so, there's 3 minutes added on. By the way, there's 2 minutes of it left. Last 10 minutes has been devoid of any real quality at all. There was a good ball put into the box, which Stamatolopoulos, the substitute, tried to get in the end of, didn't quite manage to do so. Killian Phillips had a shot from outside the box, as did Keanu Bacchus, but both comfortably saved by Ward. Motherwell not quite as influential on the ball as they had been, although Slattery's still picking up good positions, but I just don't see a breakthrough with 2 minutes to go, to be honest with you, Kenny. Still
that's full time, Kenny.
Yeah, let's get to Somerset Park. Chick.
Big win for Wraith Rovers. The goal was 90 plus minutes ago because it came in that after 40 seconds. 1-0 Wraith.
Right,
goal for Livingston.
Yes, Callum.
Yeah, it's been just a hopeful ball, just turned down the side by Montano. I've been hammering Bakili all game for not getting across and holding it up. He seemed to take an eternity to get a shot off on the left-hand side. He stuck it in the far corner. 3-1 Livingston.
You might have been hammering him, Callum, and I totally agree with you, because Livingston were looking ragged, Kenny. There was no intent in terms of when they were getting control of the ball. They were just turning it over. And Bakila, he wasn't getting in front of the defenders, he wasn't running channels, he was just sort of static. But I have to say, what a brilliant finish this is. On his left side, whips it into that far corner.
He looks as though he took too long. He was hesitating, Neil, and he just took his time. I thought the chance had gone, and he must have just squeezed in the far corner. Livingston looked like they were actually hanging on a little bit.
They were.
Yeah, just the energy levels had dropped. No, they couldn't get up the pitch. It became a 4-5-1. But this might have won them the game.
Yeah, it's an absolute beauty.
Full time at Lesser Hampden.
Yes, let's just quickly go to Stuart Mitchell. Win for the away side there, Stuart.
A stunning second half performance from the Smokies. Now both are 3-1 winners.
Right, so 3-1 victors are both away at Queen's Park. We'll get to Rory in just 1 second, just to wrap things up from the game at Livingston. That's a big goal there, Julie.
Yeah, huge goal. They were up against it, and although I think for me Livingston have defended their own box extremely well, they've really restricted Falkirk to opportunities outside the box. They're trying to play in and around them. So although they've defended really well, they have been under a bit of pressure, and that's exactly what you need. You need somebody to be running the channel at this stage in the game, and he does that, and his finish from quite a tight angle is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I don't think I had any choice to run the channel. I don't think he wanted to, but the ball was that good. He had to go and got his reward for it.
And we just got a close-up there, didn't we, of John McGlynn. Very frustrated in the touchline, because he would have felt he could have grabbed something out of that game late on, Neil.
Yeah, well, they were certainly pushing for it.
Yeah.
Right, okay, let's go.
Full-time Kenny, Partick Thistle 1, Morton 1.
Right, just give us a brief update there on things. Would that be a fair reflection of what you watched this afternoon, that scoreline, Derek?
Yeah, I think Thistle will be a little bit disappointed. More of the ball, a couple of more chances than Morton, but Morton, you got to give them real credit, real gritty, determined performance, and you expect nothing less from a Dougie Imrie side. So, but probably a fair reflection on the overall play, Kenny.
Thanks,
Kenny, full-time, Dunfermline 2, Airdrie 0.
Yeah, as you were saying earlier on, fairly comfortable. They just got their noses in front, a couple of quick-fire goals really towards the end of that first half, and seemed fairly comfortable in the end. Yeah, very strong in the second half. You know, as I've been saying, they're quite a big physical team, but they like to play football as well. They got their 2 goals quick-fire within 3 minutes of each other just before half-time. Great time to get the goals. Went on the second half and looked really comfortable, didn't look under any real pressure at all. Although Airdrie still try to play the game the way Rhys McCabe likes it, on the ground, but they had very little up front, and you know, Dunfermline ran out quite comfortable winners here. Thanks to William Miller. Looks like Kelty Hearts has scored a late winner away at Montrose. Teesdale with that one on 95 minutes. So in the midst of all that, Rory Loy, full-time whistle has gone in Paisley. You would imagine that Stephen Robinson certainly be very disappointed at his side's performance today.
Yeah, he will be with their general play throughout the 90 minutes. I think he'll be extremely disappointed. Whether he, whether he says that in the post-match interview or not, I'm not quite sure. He's usually pretty honest, so I'd like to think he would, say that it wasn't good enough today, because it wasn't. That being said, in the second half, Gogic had a chance, Bacchus had a good chance, Phillips had a good chance. So, it's not as though they couldn't have won the match, because Motherwell is, as good as they were in possession, at times they were a bit powder puff up front and didn't really produce much at the other end. All the real good chances, out with the one in the first half that fell to Said, fell to St Mirren. So, yes, he'll be disappointed with the level of performance, but he probably feels they could have nicked it in the end, one way or another. So, yeah, I just think it was a disappointing spectacle overall. Yes, I enjoyed watching Motherwell and getting out of tight situations and passing the ball up the pitch. It was nice to watch, but there was no real end product. So, it's not the most exciting game we'll see this season, I'm sure, and it does end 0-0.
Rory, we've had predictions, including from yourself, over the past couple of weeks from our pundits, and many are suggesting that Motherwell could have a very good season, perhaps even outsiders for a spot in that top 6.
Yeah, well, I know crossing and finishing will be on the agenda this week in training, I would imagine, because they get in good positions, and the crossing left a lot to be desired, as did the finishing at times. So I think they maybe need to work on their ruthlessness in the final third, because it's all good and well passing the ball, but there's no reason whatsoever, if they can get that bit right, which is probably the hardest bit to do, in fairness. If they can get that bit right, there's no reason, based on what I've seen today, why they can't be, whether they can force their way themselves into the top 6 this season, I'm not quite sure, but they can be in and around it certainly come the 33 game mark, if they can put the ball in the net as well as pass it as well as they did.
Neil, would you say perhaps one spot available in the top 6? Celtic, Rangers, we're expecting a very strong season from Hearts. Hibs looked to have just followed on from a terrific season last campaign. Aberdeen, we'll get Willie's thoughts on that in a minute. Disappointing opener on Monday night. But would you expect these 5 to be in the top half and just one more spot available?
I think the first 4 you mentioned, yes. Aberdeen would need to find a goal threat for me to replace the guys that they've lost in order to be that guaranteed 5th spot. The catalyst of winning the Scottish Cup last year should have been, and I'd imagine will be, huge for them. in terms of what they want to achieve this season. Looking at Motherwell, I think Motherwell will need to strengthen centre-back position, and as Rory's pointed out there quite clearly, in the forward positions, if they've got aspirations of top six, it's okay playing wonderful football, but it's both ends, two boxes where it's the most important. And when you're playing with Stephen O'Donnell and McGinn as your centre-backs, that can't continue for the full season. Those guys are not young to play all of the games, so they need to kind of try and find a solution there. But I mean, there could be a number of teams that will challenge for the top six, maybe one or two positions. I still think St Mirren will be stronger. They've been brilliant the last few seasons, and they'll continue to be, I think, up there with the favourites and nipping a wee top six again.
What about Aberdeen, Willie? You watched them, of course, in their opener. It was a difficult opening game, of course, on Monday night away at Hearts. Do you think Aberdeen have got work to do still? A lot of recruitment to be looked at there. You there with us, Willie? Slight problem in the line there. Julie, what are your thoughts then on this battle for top six? We always enjoy it. It gets really exciting when it comes to the split. Do you think there are four nailed on, and perhaps a couple of places, or would you say Aberdeen would be in there?
I think this season more than any, it's really intriguing. I think what we do have is, other than, I mean, when you look at last season, you look at Hibs, who hadn't started the season particularly well. We've already got a Hibs side who are established. They had a David Gray who'd only just coming in and trying to embed his principles. I think now you've got that four, so it makes it even more difficult. I think Aberdeen slightly different in that they haven't started the season so well. But I think the excitement this year is that we do have more sides who are going to be battling it out. I think it's a really difficult one to call. You've also got Dundee United, who last season were really strong in their first season back up. So you would expect them to go from strength to strength as well. And a Motherwell side who have started well in terms of how they've been playing. Yes, their end product this afternoon wasn't quite there. And a St Mirren side as well, who over the last few seasons have probably overachieved in terms of the size of the club, and they will want to continue that. So really difficult to call. I think when we talk about the top four, I think they're all in a really good space. I think the two Edinburgh sides and the Old Firm, I think where they are at the moment, it would be really silly of you to think that they were going to drop out of the top six. So for me, those four plus two more, and it will just depend on how things go with Aberdeen in terms of their recruitment over them from now until the end of the window.
Yeah, Willie's back with us now. Willie, we're just discussing the top six, and one space I was suggesting perhaps up for grabs. Neil's not so sure. Julie's sharing the concerns around Aberdeen. You watched them, that tough opener at Tynecastle on Monday night. The suggestion is they need a couple of players in.
Yeah, I can understand their concern, and I share that concern as well. I don't think their preparation for the season has been particularly spectacular. It's been very low key, in fact, and I think that the toughest fixture, and I include Rangers and Celtic in this in Glasgow, that they could have picked would have been Hearts at Tynecastle as their opening game, and they didn't seem ready for it in the first half, and I don't think the squad is ready for it as yet for the season ahead. And the worrying thing is that they've got European competition. They're guaranteed European League football as well. So that's going to put pressure on them. So I do feel that the recruitment has still got to be up. They've lost a lot of players during, the close season. So they're still short. And in particular, I don't think they're too bad at the back in terms of options that Jimmy Talleen have and decent in midfield. The question now for me tomorrow afternoon is, does he stay with a 4? Does he go to a 5? Does he play the same formation that he played against Celtic in the cup final, which was very successful, or does he stick with his normal formation, which is 4? I think he's maybe got to mix it up a little bit. He's got plenty of central defenders that he can go to that shape, and I think he'll be tempted to do that. But I do feel that the squad needs strengthened, and I don't think that they were prepared well enough for that Hearts opening game at Tynecastle.
Could it be the challenge of trying to bring in players maybe from Sweden? I mean, Jimmy Talleen will know that market better than any. They're halfway through their season. So sometimes it can be a challenge to take players away from clubs who are competing in their own stage.
It's been a few Aberdeen fans. There certainly seems to be a bit of frustration right now that the club's not doing enough, and it's always difficult recruiting late in the day. I'll go to the classifieds in just a minute, Bobby, but Willie's bringing up European football there. It feels right now we've had a great week in Europe for the Scottish clubs. We of course had the nominations for Ballon d'Or. Caroline Weir is in there, Scott McTominay's in there. It feels like we're in a good place right now.
I think a lot of people say Scottish football's probably not been in this good position for a decade or so. I think we need to take the positives of that. If we've got Caroline and Scott both competing at that level of recognition, we also need to think we could potentially have 5 clubs in the group stages of European competition.
Full time here.
Yes. Full time whistle. Let's just go, hold time, but just go to that now. Full time.
Yeah, full time here at Livingston. Livingston 3, Falkirk 1. Good performance in the end by Livingston.
Yeah, very, very good. We can see David Martindale celebrating with his staff there in the dugout. So we'll go through the classifieds for you in just a couple of minutes, just waiting on that full-time score come in. Callum just brought us that one there. We'll try and bring you managerial action as well before we leave you on television around about 5:25. But Julie and Neil, just briefly on this before we do the classifieds, it does feel like we're in a good place right now, and I think with also domestically, there are a lot of stories. There are clubs in transition. There are new managers. There's new investment. There's a lot to look forward to, a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, I think the season started really well, and I think when you look at how it ended last year as well, I think what we want is more teams being able to compete for those top 6. We want more teams to be able to take points off each other, and I think already we've seen, yes, Rangers maybe not where they want to be, but they've already dropped points. Celtic were pushed really hard last weekend as well, so what we want is all of the teams to be able to compete and make sure that they can make a game of it when they're coming up against the Old Firm, and hopefully points can be spread across the season.
Talking about European football, Kenny, in terms of the teams that have fared, it's so pleasing because you take Partizan Belgrade and Rapid Vienna, they might not be at the top of the tree right now, but they've got a real European pedigree about them. It's not just minnows that these sides have knocked out, and so often our teams have gone out really early in European competition. But those 2 results, I think, are big results for Scotland. Rangers then are doing the business during the week 3-0. Looks like they're going to progress to the next stage. So all in all, it's been a wonderful week for Scotland in European football.
The thing about that, Neil, is though last season and seasons before that, they bemoan the fact that they're in European football and it affects them domestically, and they don't have good league campaigns, and that's where they've got to be able to match the ambition. Hearts look as though that they're working towards it, but you know, are Hibs ready for it? Are Aberdeen ready for it? Is Dundee United ready for it if they do get into the league stages of Europe? So that's a big challenge for these clubs.
Yeah, listen, it certainly is, but we're all looking forward to the action next week. Full coverage right across the BBC of our teams in Europe. So let's run through the classified scores for you this afternoon. Of course, there are fixtures tomorrow. Speaking of Aberdeen, they are playing tomorrow. So in the top